I've gotten into vaporwave music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like just edits of pop songs or like normal songs?
No, like original pieces.
There's an edit of like somebody that I used to know. That's like a vaporwave edit.
Oh,
that
really?
I like. Yeah.
Oh, I would check that out. So one of the guys is Tupperwave. Tupperwave is a guy, and I think he was pulling like 80s disco, 90s disco, like really like songs I've never heard of. But then he, turned it into his own thing. But I think he has a couple original pieces too. I don't know. I
accidentally searched Tupperware.
Well, that's how it pops up like that.
Tupperwave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to Spotify. He's probably got like 8 or 9 songs that I like.
It looks like he's got a decent amount of stuff. Mm-hmm. Definitely looks like something I'd be into.
I would check him out if you're into that. He takes. I mean, he synthesizes disco, which is really, it's fun.
I haven't listened to a whole lot in a while. Like I've been listening to more like pop punk, kind of like post punk.
Okay.
Sort of whatever. Like Have a Nice Life, that my favorite band. Yeah. I discovered them like a couple years ago, and I just haven't stopped listening to them. And they only have like a handful of songs, really.
Yep.
So there's not much variety at all, but I just keep going back to them.
That's how Saint Motel, man.
Saint Motel?
Saint Motel. They do, they are what I would call like Family Dollar pop. So it's...
Oh, they have a video with 42 million views. My type.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's a hit. They got Cold Man. I can't even think of some of their stuff.
They look interesting.
Yeah. No, it's vanilla. It's like a vanilla pop. It's not overly done or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe indie pop is how I'd probably describe them.
Yeah. There's this band called VHS Collection that's like a synth pop kind of group.
Ooh.
Like sort of indie on the indie side.
Yeah.
They're nothing like super out there. They're pretty accessible, but
VHS
I like
Collection?
Yeah, I like a few of their songs.
I might have listened to them on... I think they popped up on the Spotify.
Yeah. Someone at work recommended them to me, and I listened to them, and I enjoyed them. So
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have what was that one you were just talking to me about? Saint Motel. I have that in my search history, so
you gotta. Yeah,
that'll pop up.
I would say check them out. They like, I don't think they have a whole lot of songs in their discography, but they got like 10. Anytime they pop up, on my stuff, I listen to them, and it's there's another song they got called Sister or Sisters.
Okay.
It's really they just do fun. Very. I'm trying to. It's very. Like when I say vanilla, there's no real deep meaning behind it, So I don't know if they're kind of poking fun at pop with their music, but it's very like my type is about a dude that sees a girl at a club, or at a party, and he's like, "I want you," and that's essentially what the song is.
That's kind of how VHS Collection is. Their lyrics are super simple.
Yes,
like there's nothing. Like part of the reason I love Have a Nice Life is because their lyrics are very like literary. Mm-hmm. Like they have a lot of different kinds of like prose throughout the lyrics, whereas VHS Collection I really enjoy, but their lyrics are stuff along the lines of like driving through the night, feeling all right, gonna go on a flight, gonna go to New York City, like that sort of thing.
But that's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's got a good beat to it, then I really don't mind if the lyrics are simple.
That's why I like that stuff too, because it's like I'm not being plastic about it. I'm not being artificial, Like they're I think they're doing it tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
When it's kind of like, hey, we know how to make some good music. We just don't know anything that we have to write about or sing about. So,
and some bands I feel like they just make lyrics up that don't have meaning, but they just do it because it sounds good. Like I feel like a lot of MGMT's early stuff is sort of like that, where they just kind of throw words at whatever music they made, and if it sticks, it sticks. And usually it sounds pretty good. Yeah,
that's the one I would have. I like MGMT. I think Time to Pretend's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. I love their Little Dark Age album. That one's probably my favorite by them.
When they were like on the cover and they look like they were at like an EDM concert.
No, that's Oracular Spectacular.
Yeah.
That one's like their most popular.
Got it.
Little Dark Ages, I think their newest. I think even though it came out like 2017, it's the one that's yellow with like the clown face on the front.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love that album. It's great in my opinion. But Gideon would love to be a part of this conversation about music.
Oh my God, I know. I was thinking about him the other day.
I think about him all the time.
Yeah, he popped up on Facebook. He had a new song that came out. It sounded really good.
Yeah, he sent it to me before he like put it out. It really doesn't have...
Okay, I guess we're just dropping. Hey, look how close I am to my friends. Little VIP access, huh?
Mm-hmm. He sent it to me, and I described it as it feeling like I was playing a level in Mario with like the ghost house.
Yeah,
because it's very like kind of lighthearted but a little spooky.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. That's how it felt, like a carnival. Kind of like when I'd be walking around at Stranger Things. Honestly,
yeah,
like season 3 when they go to that it was funny because I was just finishing up that season and I happened to watch his video. And I was thinking about being at the carnival in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain level of uneasiness, but it's not, I mean, he wasn't hitting you over the head with it or anything. I liked it. I was going to say something to him too, and then I was like, I should say something to Kyle, and then I guess nothing came about it. But Gideon, if you're listening, it's spectacular.
And if you don't know, Gideon's the one who made the music for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to listen to more of his stuff, his Instagram username is called Wake Rise Fall. All one word, no underscore or anything. Just Wake Rise Fall.
Cool. That's yeah. You guys should check him out.
Mm-hmm. He has his latest on there with the Spooky Carnival. That's on his Instagram page right there.
Is that what that is? Is it called that?
Wake Rise Fall?
No, his newest video. Is it called Spooky Carnival?
I don't think he's given it a name. He really just posted it with the caption, "Gather around for the Spooky Carnival." So I've just been calling it Spooky Carnival.
That makes sense
because it's like the thing.
Wow,
that
I don't know if that was
indicate
subconsciously I did that or.
I think
I had.
You
to
picked up
that.
on associations there, and you did a good job connecting it. So, I applaud you.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to take the credit over Gideon on that, and I will thank everyone.
I guess I can intro now.
Sure. Are we? Yeah.
Beep boop pop. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 24th episode of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
And my name's McClain.
We are. We have a few discussions today.
Yes.
Well, by a few, I mean a couple.
And by a couple, you mean two.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people will say like a couple few, which I found interesting. I asked that person like, what does a couple few mean?
4 or more.
Well, they said at least 5.
Really?
Yeah, because a couple typically is 2, and then a few is no less than 3. So a couple few mathematically equals at least 5. It can be a little more than 5.
God,
I feel like
the English language is beautiful.
Yeah, English and math. I'm sitting you down for a elementary school lesson.
Wow. A couple few. I don't know if I've ever dropped a couple few.
I've only heard it once, really, from one person.
And you made them defend themselves?
I wanted an explanation. I wanted answers.
Cornered them.
Yeah. I needed to know. But
yeah, why don't you just go with the 5 mark then? If you're going to drop a couple. I feel like, I'm an efficient.
I feel like saying 5 is quicker.
That's what I was going to say. It's more efficient to go 5. I don't know what they're talking about, though. Like minutes or.
Yeah. I feel like if you want to have rigmarole, you say, can you give me a couple few chips? It's like you're just asking for people to open up a discussion about it. It's like you want to talk about it. But
it's a good, hey, if it's a party dinner conversation.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of those conversations I feel like Seinfeld would have.
Oh God,
something.
yeah, something that's just very mundane, but you need answers.
Yeah. Like something that will just bug your brain for the rest of the couple weeks.
Couple few weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of a couple few weeks.
Yeah.
This kid from this movie got kidnapped and spent a couple days, I think, in a basement. And we're talking about Black Phone.
Yeah.
So we decided to watch this film and we're going to talk about it. Did you want to intro this one and I can get Stalker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah. No, I think that's what we agreed to do. We were talking about doing that, and that's what we're gonna do. So we might as well do it.
Strap in,
right? I mean, if that's what really, that's what we're thinking about. So
hold your ass.
But sit down, grab a hold of something. All right, we got the Black Phone, 2022's Black Phone, written by Joe Hill, actually based on the story. So this was adapted,
but it's based on a short story.
Yeah, Joe Hill, son of
Sandy Hill. I don't know.
Stephen King.
Oh yeah. I remember looking him up.
Now it comes out.
Well, I forget about it because his last name isn't King. So
right. You think he hates his dad?
If he does, it's a weird way of showing how he hates his dad by becoming an author himself. Maybe he thought, oh, I can write better than my dad, so he became an author.
That big like FU one-upper kind of.
But I don't know. I feel like
well, he's got a good trajectory. I don't know how many films King got made, but he's got one now.
Yeah, right. You got to say that he was at least inspired by his father. So.
Yes, I would agree. I think
especially with movies and stories like this.
Yes. 100%. And there's a little bit of trivia on here. I was trying to read up on some of this stuff, but this is director, co-writer Scott Derrickson, who teamed up with Mr. Cargill. So they adapted this from Joe Hill. It's starring Ethan Hawke, Jeremy Davies, who we just do not see enough of, I think. No. I don't think it's Davies. It's James Ranson. I like James Ranson. Madeline McGraw, son of Timothy and Mason Thames, I'm gonna go with as Finney. Finney, the boy.
Isn't Madeline McGraw the sister?
Who?
The sister in the movie.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant like Timothy McGraw's sister or Tim McGraw.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's why I was like sister. I was like, that's
Tim McGraw
is
the sister.
Jesus, what are the parents doing? She's Sister Gwen. Ethan Hawke plays the grabber. Jeremy Davies plays Terrence, who I believe is the
dad.
Yeah, which actually, Jeremy Davies was in Saving Private Ryan. He played kind of the pansy soldier.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Upham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And then James Ranson was in. So this guy, I think he directed Sinister.
Yes, he did. He directed Sinister, and he also directed the first Doctor Strange film.
Yes, and he was actually on the second one when he left.
Yeah, he was going to make Multiverse of Madness, but then he dropped out.
Creative differences. So that's 2020. So I think my Doctor Strange COVID theory holds up more because they got Sam Raimi to direct it then, right?
Yep.
Right, and that was in 2020. So God knows what happened to that film. Well, actually, I know what happened to that film. I watched it. But,
right.
Anyways, we don't need to talk about that. This is essentially about it's a nice little 100-minute film about child abduction and the grabber. The movie starts out with a little bit of a cool kind of fun baseball scene going on. With the kids, and I don't know if I agree with it, but I kind of it's whatever. Guy gets pimped, home run shot. Stands him up. He's like, "Hey man, you got good stuff."
Yeah.
And they did like the wiggity sign.
You got a good arm.
Yeah.
You almost had me.
Yeah. And which I was like, man, if I was Atkins, I'd be like, "Fuck you." Like, a little too much competition coming out. But that was cool. But anyways, some things unfold. There's some more child abductions going on in the area, and people don't really know. I guess it's the 70s, so instead of putting a curfew in, everyone just goes, "Well, it's not our town." So, kids are kind of oblivious to. Well, not oblivious, but there's not at. I guess there's a little bit of fear going around, and then some of the bullying that occurs, it kind of morphs into the grabber's going to get you. Because this guy, I don't know when he strikes. It's every, I don't know if he's like a hunter. It's got to be every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Finney, as you see in the trailer, he gets captured and kind of goes into him trying to escape the grabber. And, a little bit of the community trying to help out and figuring out what's going on with this guy. So if you haven't seen this film, obviously timestamp this, go out and check it out.
Spoilers.
Alert galore. So anyways, Kyle, so you just saw this.
I saw this like probably a week and some change ago.
Okay, a couple few
at least.
Boy, as much as we were giving that shit, that actually I might just do that out of irony now.
Yeah, now it's going to be out of irony, and then it's going to actually become something that we just say.
Into jargon. It's just, hey, I'll see you in a couple few.
Yeah, that's how it always happens.
Of course. You go to make
evolution.
Fun of someone, and then all of a sudden it's just part of your literature.
You just start saying it. That's how it starts. I saw this not super long ago. I still remember a decent amount from it. And it's funny because I used my Cinema Carousel VIP membership for it. So that was
Movie
cool.
Pass?
Pretty much Movie Pass.
So, $19.95. I think I might have to do this.
It's worth it, I think, even if you only see 2 movies a month, because you pay $19.95 a month and tickets are like $12 now.
Yeah.
And plus, if you get concessions and you spend like $38 to watch Moonfall, then it adds up.
Who is that?
Oh, a friend of mine.
I've already erased it from my memory. I'm just looking at it. It's like Memento.
It's partially my fault because I told him that we should see it, but
I'm like, what fucking idiot dropped $38? That's you're just looking at me like you did.
You just love Roland Emmerich so much.
Oh, where have you gone?
But I watched this, and I want to ask you first. Like, what did you think of this film?
So I went to the drive-in. This was part of that double feature with Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. The fucking money grab I was just ranting about.
Yeah.
But this actually, I think, was worth the price of admission. Watching it from the trailer, you talk about mismarketing. Like, we've been doing that a lot lately. I think this is another film that was mismarketed.
Like how so?
Well,
because I didn't see much marketing for this movie.
So I
think I saw the trailer once and that was it, and I didn't really remember much from it.
So this was going to get a release in January, and early reviews were so high that Blumhouse pushed it off to the summer. They thought it'd be able to compete with some of the summer blockbusters. Mm-hmm. So you started getting a little bit more of the marketing coming out, and it was more of a it was just more of a horror. Like, it was kind of like a spooky not supernatural, but spooky horror film. Obviously kid gets abducted. There's gonna be a lot of scares. He's talking to ghosts on the phone. I don't exactly know how to describe it. Ethan Hawke has the face, so you're probably thinking maybe a little bit more blood and guts coming out. You don't really know how many kids got abducted, so God knows what he's doing to them.
Yeah.
Jump scares galore, and it really wasn't that, which was nice. I mean, they played a little bit into the fear that I think anyone would have if someone was going around your neighborhood. I don't know what you exactly call that.
Just paranoia.
Yeah. And they let you kind of feed into it, and then I thought it was refreshing to have the kids on the phone as providing some dialogue and some help with what's going on. That was obviously part of the film, but I like the kids' performances, and Ethan Hawke being as creepy as he could be. I thought everything tied in really nice, and there's a couple of things I had a problem with. I'm sure we'll get into, and I'm curious as to what you thought, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm going to say that right now. I went in there thinking it was going to be really jump scary, like really spooky and horrific, and it wasn't. I thought it was a nice, concise 100-minute film. They went point A to point B, and they got a couple nice little stories in there. And in terms of character development with the kid, it's a kid. Child actors have so hard to fucking grow, but there is a good message within the film, and even if you're helpless or there's some disdain going on, that you can overcome the odds, so there was, I don't think, kind of like talking about those pop bands, I think it was kind of like a vanilla story, not too much behind it. Now I'm gonna get your take on it because I was trying to read up a little bit on this, but I think it just was a nice little. It felt like a short story that I just got played out for me.
Yeah. I guess I can go into my thoughts
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Let's hear it. And if you shit all over them, you shit all over them.
I thought this movie was pretty average.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
are the Zoomers saying now? Like mid?
Yeah.
I thought this was pretty mid.
Really? Now,
I don't think I connected with this film as much as you did. So I think my biggest issue was the writing, specifically with like character dialogue. I thought a lot of like the writing for the characters just wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that.
Like, it didn't feel like characters were talking to each other in like a natural way. It felt like really sort of overly dramatic and kind of like way too, I guess, like not caricature-y, but like just kind of predictable and plain. Like, I didn't think it was anything too unique. And then also, my other biggest issue was like some of the performances. Like, I didn't think that a few of the kid actors were very good. And obviously, like, kid actors, you know, they, like you said, they have a harder time because they don't have as much experience as adult actors, obviously. But some of it just kind of took me out of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. There's a scene where the sister she's like yelling and like crying at, I think, the dad character or someone. And the entire time that was going on, I really tried hard not to laugh because I thought it was pretty goofy and I wasn't buying it one bit.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think that I could take that scene seriously. Because it came across kind of goofy to me. Yeah,
and I think they using that as somewhat of a side plot into some of the I don't know, the mental physique of the character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't odd. It just was. I don't know if it was needed for what was going on. Yeah. And I don't know if it's supposed to with some of the overall message. Mm-hmm. You know.
And then there was a scene it's like kind of a smaller issue, but it goes along the same lines with my issues with the performances and the dialogue, where Finn is in the bathroom with the kid that helps him like fight against the bullies or whatever. Like he scares off the bullies for him.
Yep.
And so they're talking about like Bruce Lee movies and stuff like that. And I thought that whole conversation, the other kid especially, I thought he was like given a pretty janky performance, and that kind of took me out of it. And then like the dialogue of what it like felt so stifled. Like, oh, you definitely need to watch this Bruce Lee movie, man. That way you'll learn how to defend yourself finally. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like he was reading off of a cue card sometimes.
And I won't lie. I mean, some of there was, I think the one kid that got taken at the video arcade. Mm-hmm. I really liked him.
Yeah. I liked him when he was at the video arcade, like when we actually got to see him.
Yeah.
I wasn't huge on him, like his voice over the phone.
None of them was like great.
Yeah. It felt like all the phone conversations to me felt like way too played up and maybe that's kind of the point of it. Like, oh, they're not really themselves. They're just like ghost voices of themselves, and they're kind of ethereal, and they're sort of like getting into the head of the character a little bit, but they're trying to help him out from like the other side. And you know, I kind of get that that's what they were going for, but I felt like it was kind of stilted a little bit.
I mean, I'll say kid actors have a hard enough time being on the camera.
Yes.
Let alone give them voiceover. And like the one kid from the arcade was fine because hey, you're a pissed off teen angst kid that can, you know, beat the shit out of anyone and, you know, get any girl that you want. Like, you're just on top of the world, you know, so be mad that is stripped. The other ones though, like, you're trying to ask a kid that like, hey, this is what you're feeling at this time. Like, even the girl, because like when you were saying that, I was like, okay, if she hasn't been in experience with like a drunken dad and like getting hit, like she's probably not gonna know what that type of fear, because it's not like there's different levels of fear, you know. So to be able to kind of think about like a time where, oh yeah, like I could put myself in that headspace for a little bit and reenact, you know, kind of how I was feeling.
Yeah, and I can't even like blame the kid actors at all for like some of those like performances that I didn't think translated well. I think a lot of it has to do with like some of the writing and the situations that they put them in, because they're very emotionally heavy scenes. They're scenes that I think most normal people would have a really hard time with if they were just thrust into it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you have to cry and like scream out in pain as hard as you can and like try to make it convincing.
Yeah.
Like, I think most everybody would fall short of that task.
Oh, it's tough, and I'm not gonna. I gave a pass to it, I guess, because it really didn't. It didn't bug me at all. And with like kid actors, I usually go with like I'm not expecting like an 8 out of 10 on that like performance level. And then the voiceover stuff, I didn't have too much of an issue with, just because it's like, hey, one, it says 1 hour 43 minutes. I don't know if that includes the post credits, but I would guess that like the runtime of the movie, just the movie alone, is probably like 95 minutes. Like if I had to guess,
It says it's 103 minutes.
103.
Yeah, so you're not too far off.
Well, that's an hour 43 minutes, but I don't know if they include the post credits when they run at the end. That's the one thing. And sorry to get off on a different subject.
No,
but
you're
like,
good.
When they do a whole movie, like, does that include from like that start to like as soon as they hit the production house that made it to when the last credit pops up?
I feel like it does include credits, because I feel like anytime I watch a movie on streaming, like the credits will pop up, but it still says like 5 minutes left on the runtime, and it usually matches up with what I see it advertised as. So
are you saying they don't include it, or they do?
They do.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So like, I bet you it's 95 minutes. Like
Probably.
Like you get 8 minutes of post credits. So
Yeah.
For me, I just think that within 95 minutes to have a kid that's going to have to try to escape somewhere in 3 days and go through 5 different phone calls with all these kids that got abducted, that have never been abducted in their life, and then over a phone try to have them, persuade their fear or like try to. I gave it a pass. I'll just say that. I kind of was more intrigued with the material that they were presenting to help them escape. I was more so in line, like the whole time, like they would be like, you have to go do this, and then it's like, how many of these kids like got to that next stage, or did they all talk to one another? So he finally got to the last, because like the first one of them was like, I only got this far before he got me.
Yeah.
And then like there's another one that was like, I got this. So like, I don't know if it all like in conjunction just worked, or if like each one of them built off of the one previous, because that's how it felt. Like it's like a ladder, right?
Yeah. So to me, it felt like, okay, the first kid gets kidnapped. He finds something that can help him out. He only gets that far, and then he dies. And then he kidnaps the second kid. That kid gets the phone call from the one kid,
right?
And he's like, hey, you got to do this to help yourself out. So then that second kid does the same thing,
gets
lasts a little bit longer, gets
yeah.
one next step that he himself thinks of, and then he dies, and then it just keeps going until it gets to Finley. Like, that's kind of how I saw it.
That's how I did too, but they didn't really allude to, hey, did you talk to so and so? Like, I wish, if that was the case, I wish it would have been like, hey, like,
yeah,
we've all been here. This is. I just didn't know, because I was like, that was one of the things that bugged me. I was like, this is all kind of working out perfectly, but if this is the only fucking kid to answer that phone, like, how is this happening?
Yeah, well, because like, to me, the way I saw it thematically was, it was a way for sort of the kids that didn't make it to sort of have justice done for them, like Finley succeeding and breaking out and killing the grabber was the other kid's way of like having some sort of like comeuppance, and like a way for them to like not be forgotten, but like sort of be like held up in like this respectful way, I guess. Like, oh, like Finley is representing all of us for like what he did, and like we played our part in trying to help him out. Like, I feel like you can interpret this movie in like a few different ways, which is one of the things that I appreciated about it.
Ooh, okay, there's a big A word.
There's another element that I liked about it, which was just like the whole like concept, the idea of like him being trapped in this room and it's dingy and he's got to try to like kind of scrape things together to escape. Like, I always enjoy that type of thing. Yeah. And that was probably like my favorite part of the movie, was just watching Finn trying to like jerry rig or like figure out a way to escape from the room, and like taking it like one little step at a time, like chipping away at a wall with like the back of a like toilet cover, trying to throw a rope up to like the bar window and then like seeing how you can climb up it, even though he's like really short because he's just a kid. Like I thought that stuff was pretty compelling and is probably my favorite part of the movie.
It adds tension, you know, and I thought they did, for the most part, I thought it did a good job with those dynamics. There was a couple, I don't know, he dug a 3-foot hole in this thing, and I'm just like, that would take you so long. What's this guy doing?
Yeah. I think that's another like kind of complaint that I have, is that I kind of predicted that Ethan Hawke was going to fall into that hole eventually.
There's a couple, I mean, that was like foreshadowing, and then there was a funny, like a Chekhov's gun with the steak. You know, I thought that was kind of funny. Like I did appreciate that. Like I was like, of course, but you know, I was like, whatever.
Yeah. The steak being there was very convenient for him to to distract the dog with. That dog was fucking scary. I think that dog was like one of the scariest things in the movie.
I honestly thought he was gonna rip someone to shreds.
Yeah, he was fucking terrifying.
I thought he was either gonna eat the guy that Ethan Hawke killed or Ethan Hawke. Like I really thought that dog that was gonna be another scary part of the film.
Yeah. I guess like one more big issue I had, and this is kind of like a more like personal preference thing. Like, I really didn't find it too scary.
No, I don't think that's what I'm saying. Like that's why the mismarketing comes from. I think they market it as a horror film, and I really think that it probably would go down better as a thriller.
Yeah, like Ethan Hawke's performance is creepy. And I honestly think he's like the best, like aside from like the concept, he's probably the best part of the movie for me, is like his performance.
He was phenomenal. I thought.
Like I think he above and beyond outshined pretty much everybody in the movie.
That's like when you get like, you know, you're hey, sorry to go to sport ball, but like you got your big league team, and then they bring in like a freaking like all-star, and then you're just watching like, oh, that's what that looks like. You know, like now he might as well have been pistol whipping anyone in there, because you got all these kids, and then James Ranson, who I like, had to play a stoner brother. We'll get into some of the shit too, because I like this film, but there were things that bugged me, but not enough to be like it made it crap. Yeah, you know. But like, no, him and then Jeremy Davies, like, hey, you're the alcoholic. Like the roles in this were very simplistic outside of Ethan Hawke. And maybe that's it. 'Cause the kid doesn't go through any sort of growth. Like,
there's not a lot of characters in this movie.
No.
Like, it's like a few kids, a few adults,
two-dimensional,
and that's it.
They're all two-dimensional. They all serve a purpose for the plot. Like, and even Ethan Hawke does, but at least he has some sort of personality behind him with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
Drunk dad is very much just drunk dad, and then idiot brother is very much just idiot brother.
Yep. Like that's like stupid cops are stupid cops.
Cocaine fueled brother.
Oh my god! What? So
I was thinking for the longest time, like, how the hell is the brother this stupid to where he doesn't know that there's kids in his basement? But then I figured out that he has separate houses.
Yeah,
so that kind of like solved that mystery.
Are we allowed to? Can I get the one gripe out then?
Yes.
All right. Part-time fucking magician owns 2 homes. Like, are we serious? How insane was that? Like, they get up there. The whole time I'm like, what? Oh my god. I'm gonna go on a little bit of like what irked me, because it's like, all right, the kid, you got 3 days. He fucking almost escapes out of the one thing, right? And then he's got enough time to get the rope down. He digs a 3-foot hole, and then he carves something out. Like, all of these things are time-consuming actions, right? All the meanwhile, Ethan Hawke, the only thing we know that his character does to make money is a magician. Dude, you're not where are you going?
Yeah.
You have like 3 acts a day?
Yeah.
You know?
He's on the grind. He's kidnapping kids and he's performing 2 birthday parties a day.
Oh my god! Like, I'd like to see. That's what they need to do. The sequel, the Black Phone 2, is just his profession. Oh my god! Could you imagine all the shit? No wonder he kills all those kids.
Yeah. They just fucking drive him insane.
That's a fucking blow up animal.
It's like an origin story, kind of like Joker. It's like something happens to where he just fucking just goes off. Like these kids do him dirty one day. Like,
oh yeah, serious. Oh, he got to one party. It was like they did the bag of shit lit on fire. Like right when he showed up, they stomped it out, and then they hit him with the flower hose.
Well, they were probably like, we know how you do this trick. You just put it behind your ear. Yeah. He's like, listen, you little fucker. Yeah. I'll fucking kill you.
Oh my god. They pin him down and they're like hosing him off and stuff. It's just anyway. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They call him a naughty boy.
Yeah. It wasn't a childhood experience. It was like literally like a year.
It was like a week before he started killing kids.
I was dude, they do the whole thing, and then they got the doors side by side, and they open up, and it's like there's nothing here, and it's like, oh shit, was it all in his mind? Like what was going? And then the cop turns over, and he just sees the house across the road, and it's like zooming out, like literally that's happening, and I just went, you got to be fucking kidding me! There's no way Ethan Hawke makes enough money to pay 2 mortgages, like unless that was gifted to him, like no way. That was my biggest gripe out of everything that was happening with talking to dead kids on the phone. I was like, a part-time magician paying off 2 homes, like get the fuck out of here.
Movie logistics.
Not you. 70s were a different time, man.
Yeah. Think about the cost of the dollar, or the value of the dollar.
This is the argument that I'm gonna use when people, like when I tell someone I can't like save up to get a mortgage. They're gonna be like, "Are you really? You can't?" And I'm gonna be like, "Bro, are you kidding me? A guy that worked 20 hours as a fucking magician owned 2 homes. Yeah. Like you think like prices haven't changed, motherfucker?"
And he was a single male.
His brother wasn't paying rent.
No.
Oh my god, dude! I was so that's the one that really irked me. I was like, and that's just maybe where I'm at today. Like I was just like, boy, times are different. 50 years ago, I could have fucking just went out and half-assed some job.
It just makes you mad about the cost of living nowadays.
Oh my god, that's what it got to. And then the brother's he's like high and doing coke and coming up with stuff. It's like, what does he do?
He's like a police fanboy. Like he wants to be a part of the police detective force. He's like, I've been working on this case along with you guys and blah blah blah. And he's like, I figured out that it's in this area right here.
Yeah, like just coked out of his mind.
Cops are still like, they don't even.
How would you take that seriously?
They don't even like bust him for they see it on the table and then they just fucking walk away.
Yeah,
they're like, we have much more important things to do.
Not even worth it.
Than listen to this wacko.
I honestly thought, I was like, oh man, maybe they'll like get him involved. Maybe the idiot. Maybe he's got like problems. Like he's like mentally not there, so he's not a like reliable character.
Yeah.
No.
They really just did not give a shit about him. But I mean, he does have a part to play in the movie. He's just kind of cannon fodder.
Unfortunately,
axe fodder. I should say.
Yeah, that like you knew that was coming down.
He was there to give Finn that little false hope, like, oh, someone that's not the grabber, and right through the head.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? But I mean, I did like that scene though, because you get to see some of the violence from Ethan Hawke, but it's not all. I mean, honestly, like they allude to things that are gonna happen, but that he did do, but you never saw it. I mean, really, if you think about it, the only thing I think that we had seen is him just getting the kids. So you don't know. I mean, really, as a character, you don't know what he does to them.
Yeah,
you don't know what he's capable of doing, and then, boom.
Yeah. What did you think of like some of the kind of light supernatural elements of this movie? I say light because
Talking Dead kids
and the sister having the dreams.
It felt so like when I heard that Joe Hill was Stephen King's kid, I was like, oh, I mean, this feels kind of like he's pulling some source material from his dad, because the kid reminded me like of The Shining. I didn't know if the one thing that I read that kind of made sense was the dad served a purpose as part of the overall message of stand up to bullies, stand up to, even if you feel hopeless. And one of the things they said was like he was literally beating the dreams out of her, or whatever you want to say. You're not going to have those dreams. So it's kind of like suppression, if you will.
Because I mentioned the mom having dreams also, but then the dad tells the story about how she sort of became delusional because of them and like took her own life. And then that's why he doesn't like the daughter having those dreams, because one, it reminds him of his wife, and then two, he doesn't want his daughter to go down that same road. At least that's what his explanation is to her.
I'm hoping that there's a little bit of a redemption story in there. If I remember right, the dad kind of felt some sort of somber moment there, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do AA and not beat the shit out of my kids.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember if that was like the overall message, or if he just had like sobered up for a minute and was like, oh, I can finally tell you. I don't know. I didn't care about it. I don't know if the daughter served a purpose. Like, it was like she helped the cops. I was like, not really. Like, that kid would have got out of there on his own. And
yeah, I was confused a little bit about his motivation to beat his daughter, because at first it feels like he's angry that she talked to the cops, or that the cops came around and asked her questions. So I was wondering, like, oh, is this guy doing like some shady business shit? But then he explains like the whole dream thing and why he gets upset when she like has those dreams. It's like, okay, are you mad about the dreams, or are you mad about the cops? Or is it just a convenience thing?
I had to guess it would be single dad whose wife had a steady income, because I think he said the wife was a nurse.
I don't remember.
I want to say that he might have mentioned her profession. I could be way off. I mean, like, now you're a single dad. The person that you love took their life potentially, and it's just alcohol and pissed off about life. And so what's the easiest? Take it out on the kids.
Yeah.
They can't defend themselves. You look at them and you project all your hate and anger because the person that you love's gone, and
they remind you of that person that you lost.
The creation of that love, and that love's tainted. So, that's what I kind of took from it. I just two-dimensional alcoholic dad, which I was like, I that's why I can't remember. I was like, I thought that there was a little bit of a sobriety moment in there when he opened up to the daughter, and it was like, oh, maybe he'll stop this now.
Yeah.
Kind of like, hey, your kid's really missing, and you could see that he's pissed off because he hates and loves this kid.
I would have liked one more scene with this sort of notion, because the whole theme of the movie is Finley like working up the courage to stand up for himself in certain situations.
Yeah.
And I think I would have liked it if there was at least like one more scene at the end with like him sort of confronting his father about the fact that he's an abusive alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, and the father, after like everything that happened to Finley, he wouldn't really be able to like justifiably do anything because, Finley stood up for himself. I mean, he fucking killed the grabber. So the dad would have a right state of mind to sort of do a little self-reflection in those moments and be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little moment like that, but
well, that's what I'm saying. I think like the story itself is it's point A to point B. I mean, it feels like it's not any deeper than what you take from it. I think there's a very simple message, like you said.
Yeah.
Standing up for yourself. So a lot of the characters, like when you think about it, they're really two-dimensional because they only service to move the plot forward.
Yeah.
So I agree though. That would have probably helped with some depth of the film and some of the takeaway with his growth as a kid, and we see him stand up to the grabber. So it's like time to stand up, to your family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the next part of the hero's journey,
Yeah. I think that a moment like that would have been nice, but
they didn't want it. They wanted to just piss off every millennial and show them, what it's like to work 20 hours and own 2 homes.
Pretty much, man.
I guess my biggest takeaway from that thing, I'll never forget that cop looking over there and they're zooming in on that house. I was like, come the fuck on.
Yeah. I didn't think about it until you brought it up, McClain. So now I'm going to be pissed about it.
Yeah.
It's going to go down 1 more point because of you.
I mean, dude, we got done with that at the drive-in and everyone's like, yeah, what'd you think? And they're all kind of going on. And I was like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like shaking my head. They're like, what? And I go, you mean to tell me? Like, I just was like, that's what I was hung up on.
It's like the gas thing from Gemini Man all over again, filling up the boat.
Oh God, dude, that. Why, or at least have like, I don't know. That's the problem though, because it's a two-dimensional. It's a point A to point B. Like, who the fuck cares how he had the second home, man? Leave it be. He's the grabber. He's super creepy. Which he was, and I give him credit for that. I got a question though.
What's that?
With the masks, obviously they were there to help kind of aid each character, kind of each killing maybe the psyche of the killer that he's going through. Do you think that there was maybe any schizophrenia there? Or do you think that the mask serviced as his thirst for blood, as he got better being a hunter? They portrayed any sort of mood that he was in. I tried to look up just a little bit on it, and I thought it was always fascinating. I didn't realize he switched up, because in every scene, I think he's got a different one on.
Yeah, and he's like got combinations. Like he'll have the same like top half, but not the same bottom half in the next scene.
Yep.
Like one without a mouth, one with a smiling mouth, one with a frowny mouth. I'm sure it symbolizes his feelings in the moment and like how his demeanor is towards the kid. Because I feel like when he's like friendly, he's got like the smiling mask on, but then when he's feeling like kind of ambivalent, he's got the mask without the mouth.
Yep.
And then like when he's sort of like 100% in like vicious killer mode, like maybe he's got like the entire mask
with the horns on.
With like the horns, yeah. Like I'm sure there's like a lot of symbolism there. I can't say for certain what it all means. I'd have to watch it again, but which I wouldn't be like super opposed to. Like I didn't hate this movie.
Yeah.
I just didn't love this movie. But yeah, there's definitely something there. I feel like with like the mask, and I really liked the design of it and like the visualization of the mask and like how it was used, and that scene where it like slowly pans up the stairs and zooms in on him sitting in that chair with the what does he have in his hand? Like
a belt.
Yeah, he's got the belt in his hand.
Pretty sure
and
it's
like,
a belt that he's gonna beat the shit out of that.
His
kid
shirt's
with.
just open and he's just sitting there like just staring.
Doesn't he have the mask? Like, isn't
he's got the mask on in that moment?
Yeah, like so you don't know the eyes are open. That was the creepiest part too. Is like because every time he had that on, like if it was over, like well I shouldn't say it like that. You had to see his eyes. You were trying to like look into his eyes, which made it even more eerie. I think because like when he was sitting there, it's like he's gonna be asleep or something like that, or he's gonna be acting like. I just remember like I was staring at his eyes, trying to like, all right, are they gonna show it like closed or open, or I just remember that being kind of a creepy part about it because you're really I mean like you see the overall focus, but you have to you're kind of looking at him to see, all right, like what's he kind of, is it piercing or is it wide open? Is he in I
think that was my favorite shot of the movie. Was him sitting in that chair. Like,
oh, dude, that was definitely one of the more tense moments.
Yeah. I think a lot of like some of the visualization stuff was pretty cool, like cinematography wise, and
they did a good job capturing the time, I thought.
Yeah. I liked the atmosphere, especially when they were like outside the school or like they're walking down the road. Like you wouldn't think that it'd be difficult to like recapture that, but I feel like a lot went into like the set designs and the whole like capturing that sort of 1970s feel, You have
to find a town that hasn't moved on. So you got to find like a podunk. Well, I shouldn't say podunk, but you probably got to find a town that
kind of like lower class.
Yeah, like someone that like every house decided like this is good enough for me. I'm not going to remodel or anything like that. And there's probably like and there might be spots like that in California just because it's so fucking expensive where everyone's like, you just sell the house as is for $500K just because it's in a nice area.
Yeah, and this motherfucker owns 2 homes being a part-time magician.
Dude, that cop looked over there and like squinted his eyes and I was like, what? Then it just showed that house and I was like,
even the cop was suspicious.
Oh my god, he's like part-time magician, huh?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of maybe is that like it belonged to his parents and he inherited it.
That's something. What I literally said that to my friends when we were watching it. Like I was trying to I was trying to rationalize why.
Yeah. Come up with a reason.
Well, I went through escrow and like estate planning, and I was thinking about taxes at the time, and I was like just trying to go through my head, like, man, like he'd still have to like, wouldn't he? And I'm like, why? So
the value of the dollar, like the wages that a part-time magician would make if he only worked 30 hours a week.
No, I didn't even go that far. I was like, this motherfucker must be like going to like Eddie Munster's house and like throwing on balls or something.
Yeah.
But he even looked dingy like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he was fucking creepy.
Yeah, he was.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about with this film?
No, I had a work buddy that went and saw this, and he got so pissed off he DM'd Ethan Hawke on Twitter or Instagram.
Oh,
and said he goes, I love your work, but you suck.
That's an interesting way of going about that.
We literally, I think it might have been both. Like we came back on Monday, so I saw it Friday, and I think he saw it Saturday or something like that. And he's like, "Hey, what'd you do this week?" I was like, I saw the Black one." He goes, "Me too. What'd you think?" I was like, "I liked it." And he goes, "Huh." And I was like, all right, like, where are you going with that? Just went into fucking boom.
See,
boom,
I feel like
boom.
Ethan Hawke is the best part of that movie. So the gripes that I have with it, I wouldn't message him about it.
That's what I kind of was like. I didn't understand. I think, like I said, I think it was mismarketed a little bit, and that if you were watching this, it's kind of like you're thinking that you're gonna get some sort of, it like so. What I read with Joe Hill, kind of, he made a little bit of the script based around the serial killers of the time. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and they brought him in because in the short story it was a clown that was doing it, and he was like, hey, like, it's kind of came back, like, can we not do a clown?
Yeah, it's a little overplayed.
Yeah, so I guess part-time magician with two homes. Next creepiest thing, which I would agree with that, but I'd probably associate it more with drugs.
Yeah.
He's probably selling his brother the coke.
Yeah, that's how he gets his money. His brother just keeps giving him money for cocaine. That's how he can afford 2 houses. I will say, I did enjoy the music. I thought the music was pretty creepy, atmospheric, especially that, like, opening credit crawl, I guess. Like,
with the kid on his bike? Is it?
It's like right after that, I think, where, like, the credits come up and, like, it tells you, like, who's in the movie and, like, like what the title is or whatever, and, like, it's like kind of like home video footage, it looks like, and it's like the creepy music playing over it. It's like kind of getting intense. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Like, they showed him in that too, right? He was
he's just kind of like in the distance with black balloons, and he's got the mask on and the top hat. Like, it's creepy.
Yeah, no, I honestly, so I think my favorite parts, I like that. I like the feel of the film. Like we were talking about the cinematography, the production design of it, and then the actual the grabbings. Like, I thought every one was tense. I don't think there was one where, the only one I would say that wasn't was when the kid started going through and he was like in, I don't know, dude. He's in a cop car. Like, the guy was in his dreams with them. That was the only scene that didn't make sense to me.
With the guy at the arcade?
Yeah, like, he was in, and all of a sudden I don't know. I didn't realize. I was like, why is a cop car bringing him here? Is it somewhat of a mixed, like...
I also didn't like how... I felt like he repeated the same lines, like, 3 times throughout the movie. Like, your time has come now, motherfucker.
Yeah.
This is where the pain begins, or something like that, because he's like a punk kid.
Yeah.
But you hear that exact line 3 times. And it got kind of annoying to me.
I agree with that. That's why I do. Because I was like, the second time he said it, and then I was like, oh, I guess you know what's coming when Ethan Hawke gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then whap with the fucking baseball bat, It's gonna hurt, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, they didn't get whacked with a baseball bat.
No.
Might have got eaten by a dog.
Might have, after he finished that steak.
Dude, I went and, like, I was trying to like read up on, like, maybe some of the, like, if there was any metaphors or pulled symbolism of anything, and it's like everything was like the ending explained, and it literally is just like he was listening to the kids on the phone. And that's what helped him get through. I was like,
no shit. That's just the movie. Like, that's just the fucking plot. I hate that shit.
Like, I don't need that explained. And then everyone's like, the big question is, did the grabber live or die? And I'm like, I don't know if that's really a question, because, like, the cops
saw him die.
Is that so? Like, I couldn't remember exactly. I was like, I don't remember if he just hopped over him and knocked him out, but I was like,
no, because, like, he's going through the school and all the kids are whispering, like, oh, that's Finley, he came back, he killed the grabber. Really? He killed him? Yeah, he killed him. Like, they made it very obvious that, like, he was dead.
There we go. Okay, because it was like, well, even if he doesn't, it's hard to come up with a sequel, because, like, the cops had the house surrounded. Like, unless he crawled his ass out of there with his fucking broken leg.
Yeah. His head bashed in by the phone.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, I will say, I thought the ending was a little rushed. Like, they were like, all right.
It felt rushed to me.
Like, they were like, hey, like, we ran out of ideas. All right, this is what the other kid tried doing, but he couldn't do it with the phone. Like, you're gonna, and I was just like, this is... I felt like we could have got something better than where we were at.
It felt like it accomplished, like, way too much in too little of time. Like, oh, he kills the grabber. Oh, he's back home. He hugs his sister. Oh, he's back at school. All the kids respect him, and the bullies fear him now because he killed the guy. And oh, he's sitting next to his crush. The end.
Yep. Like,
all happens in, like, less than a minute.
Bow tie ending. Here you go. But I mean, it made me feel a little good.
Yeah. It definitely was a happier ending, even though all those kids died.
Well, they didn't die for nothing, though.
They didn't die for nothing. So yeah, I guess we can wrap this up. What would you rate this film?
I gave this a 8 out of 10. I did. And I'll say this, even bashed it on it. I like nice, concise stories. I like this one because at 100 minutes, I mean, and as much as they had to throw in at you, it goes down very smoothly. Visually, it's gorgeous. I didn't really, the kids, whatever here and there, but Ethan Hawke was creepy. And I think if they had maybe marketed a little, I don't know, if they had marketed a little bit differently, I might, it probably would have stayed at 8 out of 10, but I had a better idea of what I was walking into. But I mean, for that alone, I really just liked it. Was point A to point B, it goes down smooth, and I mean, I guess you could say you turn your brain off a little bit just to watch it, and it doesn't. I don't think. I mean, I say it like that, but like, there's not much like. Oh wait, what do the kids represent? Is this the biggest thing I had coming out? And I hate to do this right now, but the biggest thing I had coming out of there was like, is this all like Ethan Hawke's? Like as an unreliable narrator, because if he does have schizophrenia, I mean, I don't even know if he's a narrator, but an unreliable character, and he's the one going through it. Is this him going through some of his judgment of his own, and that because he could hear the phone too? So it's like, all right, where are we at with the basement? And is this kid already dead? Is this like Ethan Hawke's way of getting judgment? And this is how he sees it in his head. Like that's about the furthest I went. But other than that, pretty much they tell you what they're gonna do when they do it.
The whole movie is told from the perspective of the brother in his cocaine-fueled escapades. That was the only. So when I say turn your brain off, like I don't think you really. There's not much you have to think about. You got alcoholic dad. You got the shining girl, who doesn't really do much, and in every step of the process of him getting out, it works. Like it literally. And when I'll say that when it doesn't. They just say beat the shit out of him with the phone and then it works. So like it's not like there's a whole lot of like how does he do this now? Like that thing happened and all of a sudden he starts crying and then the phone comes back on and it's his best friend and you're like, oh, he's gonna help him out. So besides all that, Ethan Hawke's creepy. I think this is an easy one that you could throw on at a party and kind of get like a little bit of paranoia going with your friends, but not really scare the shit out of them or like, boy, what's Mac really like? Yeah. What's this fucking weirdo showing me right now? I give this a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I kind of had a feeling just going, the writing, when you started talking about the writing, I could see why you know.
Yeah. I can't get past the writing dialogue and some of the
character
performances and like how one-dimensional they were, two-dimensional, like you said.
Well, 1, 2, whatever you want to call it. They just didn't have any.
1, 2, buckle my shoe.
Yeah, couple few extra dimensions they had.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I would have gotten more out of this because there is stuff about this movie that I like. Like, I like the visual stuff. I like Ethan Hawke. I like the ideas that they present, like the concept of him being trapped in that basement and like trying to scrape by to get out. But I think there was just too much stuff in here for me to prevent me from like really enjoying it. So.
I mean, you got 5 characters you're shuffling in there. You got 100 minutes and 3 days he's got to get out.
I will say though, as far as like the type of movie that's out right now, I'm glad that this is successful because it had a budget of 16 to 18 million, and at the box office right now, it's got 114.6 million, which is pretty damn good, especially for like a low budget horror film like this caliber, one that's like sort of not entirely an original concept because it is based off a short story, but as far as like movies that are in theaters, it's a pretty original concept.
I mean, you don't really. This is. I think the best thing helping this thing out too is Stranger Things.
Yeah,
like there's a little bit of we can deal with the kids not being emotionless or not really able to show those emotions.
Yeah,
and people can feed off that because you not you but people can get by some of that child stuff. So
yeah, and like I think also it being popular.
Yeah,
I think that helped a lot too, and I think it had like some of the same producers as the It
probably
films,
I mean
like the new It films.
I don't know if Blumhouse bought this. Like I think
this was a Blumhouse film.
I don't know if Blumhouse did it or not.
I don't think so, but
I could see them being like, hey, we got Steven's kid, like let's try to figure out
Yeah, I feel like when I watched like the trailer or something, like it had something pop up that said like from the producer of It or something like that. That was Mac taking a quick sipperoonie right there. He was not taking a piss. Don't believe the lies.
Cut it in post.
Yeah. Or not. I'm actually going to amplify it so you can hear it even better.
Yeah, that'll be my new sound for the ending.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we can wrap
it up, put it away.
Wrap it up,
put it in the vault. Put it in the
lock it up. Speaking of locking up, some of the characters in the next film we're going to talk about sort of felt locked up in their lives and needed inspiration. And to do that, they had to travel to the zone. I'm, of course, talking about Tarkovsky's Stalker, which is what I recommended last episode. Let me look up some info about this real quick. So this film is a 1979 Soviet film. I say Soviet because it was made in Russia during the Soviet Union era. It's directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, who is probably the most famous director from that region, I would say. He's got a few films that are pretty of note, and I feel like Stalker is like his most famous one. So I guess I can give like a quick summary. This film is essentially about this character who is referred to as a stalker, and pretty much his designation is to lead people on this journey into this place called the Zone. And once they get into the Zone, they have to further journey into this area that's simply referred to as the Room, where it's said that your deepest desires and dreams will become reality.
Mm-hmm.
And there are only a few characters in this film: the stalker himself, and then a character only referred to as the writer, who sort of gives commentary about the creative side of his perspective. And then you've got somebody who's the opposite of that, referred to as the professor, who gives sort of the logical, scientific point of view on things. And the three of them go on this journey, and you pretty much get to watch their dynamic and their views on life and their philosophies sort of clash.
Ideologies.
Yep, ideologies sort of clash and take shape in front of you, all the while you're watching this journey take place. So
yeah,
that's pretty much, I think, the best that I can summate.
That's how it goes down. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, there's not. My brother was watching this. He's like, I got 48 minutes in. I'm gonna watch the rest, another part. So he's got.
Mm-hmm. So he did what I did. I had to watch this in chunks.
Yeah.
Because,
oh, lucky you.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour, 43-minute film, I believe, and it's definitely not a quick pace. It very much takes its time. It very much draws you in very slowly, but I wouldn't say that stuff doesn't happen, because stuff does happen. And there's a lot to this film that we can get into. So I guess top level, I can ask you, like, what did you think of this?
I thought it was long. Definitely, I watched it all in one viewing.
I wish I could, but I was just, because I was enjoying it, and I wanted to watch it in one sitting, but I was so tired that I wanted to give it like the viewing it deserved, so I had to stop in the middle of it and then continue the next day, today, pretty much. I finished it before we recorded.
I don't, and this is one too. I don't know. I even if I did it, I've got a new thing now where I've come up with a film category, and I'm just calling it a projectionist film. Malik does it. I'm trying to think. I can't think of that. I know there's a couple other directors where you talk about them, and this one dives so much into human psychology. And we want to film the conscious of the brain, but we want the conscious of the actors, at least with some of the viewings, because then you get some of their takes on how they're feeling or what they're going through, and maybe it either compares or contrasts with what we're seeing on the screen. I'm not huge on that, and I was just thinking about it too, because I was like, because Malik does the same thing, and I'm like, it's kind of ironic that they're gonna film the conscious, kind of giving us a glimpse into the mind of the character, but I have to infer that with my conscious, and I will make or project emotions as to how I'm feeling as to what they're seeing. You can't remove yourself, your own conscious, from what you're viewing as an audience member to what they're trying to project. Now, you could understand, you can sympathize, empathize, rationalize, right? And that's why I call it them projection films. I think this is another projection film where I would say, given a state of how you're feeling, if I put you in a different mood, you would have a different inference, taking it in.
Yeah. And I would have got something different from this.
And that, I don't, like I'm saying, I don't have a problem with that. That's not like the movies that I'm big on, but it does pose really good questions. And I think this one with some of the, I mean, dude, like I think anyone, like, and we'll get into it, but the zone, the room, it could have different meanings for anyone, which I think is like really, it's kind of funny because at the root of it, if someone came up to us and was like, out there, you can go to this place and they'll give you $100, you know? And it's like, oh, really? Like, how, and it's just like, just start walking. We would come up in our minds about our own, like, where are we going to find? Who are we going to meet? What are we going to have to do? Like, if me and you were standing right there and a guy said that to us, I could be like, oh, I'm going to have to throw a football 30 yards. And then, but you might be like, oh shit, this guy is going to make us sell drugs and we have to go, you know, like there's just different ways that the mind takes stuff in. And like the way you're feeling or how you feel about people, you project without what the object would be. Yeah. You know? And I feel like this kind of is along those lines. So that's,
and I like the fact that, I think part of the reason why I love this film is because it feels like those characters in the film are sort of doing the same thing that we are as an audience member, where we're sort of looking at the concept of this place called the zone and this place called the room, and they're trying to gauge their own interpretations and their own views on the thing that is in the film with them. Yes. You know, because you've got the writer who views it as an opportunity for him to gain inspiration and gain some sort of new appreciation for this thing that he does, that he calls himself being a writer, but that he detests, that he hates. He, you know, throughout the movie, he's going, how can I be a writer when I hate writing? You know, because he goes into the details about how to be a writer, you kind of have to be in agony, because the stuff that you then write about is from a place of pain and is from a genuine place, from like the aches of your heart and things of that nature. Whereas someone like the scientist, you don't find out until like later in the movie, but he poses the question of like, what if someone with bad intentions enters this room and they get their desires at the expense of others? Right. Like, he's somebody who, like, the writer kind of feels like somebody who might be of a selfish nature, whereas like the professor feels like somebody who is of like the humankind nature. Like, we have to think altruistic. Well, maybe not altruistic, but somebody who like thinks about the implications of like what would happen to the greater society if something like this were to happen, where like a figure who has bad intentions goes in and like hurts other people to gain something from going into the room. And I think that those perspectives are interesting and they bounce off each other really well. And it kind of is like the result of like this build up throughout the whole movie, where like they're talking to each other, and meanwhile you've got the stalker himself who is thinking about like his place in the zone and his place with the concept of the room and like what his purpose is and like how it relates to like them trying to find out what they want from it. Like, there's a lot that you can take from it.
Oh, dude, yes. One was like, one that I settled on was sense of purpose.
Yeah. But, absolutely.
You know, and what you got to remember too is this is coming from two guys that are living in the Soviet Union. So the brothers that wrote Roadside Picnic that this was adapted from. Yep. You know, and it's kind of funny because there's a lot of debate between the conscious and the subconscious, and there's a lot of what's my ultimate purpose here. And then you got to remember that being in probably the Soviet Union at that time, you were stripped of any individualism, any individualistic traits that you may have, because it was all but for the state, you know. And there's a heavy fight that I felt with each character in terms of defining self-purpose, you know, and the desires that you'd have, kind of coming out and not really understanding what you really want as a person.
Yeah.
You know, and it was kind of funny because the contrast that I got was that from the stalker who knew exactly what he wanted. And it was, you know, his sense of purpose he did have, and it was maybe in the wrong direction, you know? So there was there was a lot of confliction going on. And
it's an interesting dichotomy between the stalker's sort of like kind of how you were describing the professor a little bit, like altruistic intentions. Like he is a stalker. His duty that he likes doing is to lead people into the room to find their purpose and to find their inspiration and grant their desires. Whereas like he's someone who can't enter the room and like get those from that sort of source. And it's funny that like he wants to help people and he leads them to the room, but then like ultimately he doesn't get what he wants because the people that he leads don't go into the room because they have some sort of revelation along the way of like what their intentions are. And meanwhile, he has a wife and a daughter at home who he could stay there with and totally be content and provide happiness for them by being there and being a supporting dad. But then he feels like his duty is to lead people to the room. And he like you said, he is totally going about it, and he has the right intentions, but he's going the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's like the best way I could come up with him, because I was like, man, I totally. It's funny because the two guys that he brings there are trying to find. I think like you try discovering self, you know, because like the scientist goes there and he's like, I got to destroy the room, and then he comes to the conclusion that, well, ultimately this isn't for me to say what's right or wrong, you know? And I don't know. The question is, did they find their true desires? Like, did he come up with and find out that I am a man of science and a fact? I'm not here to destroy things and manipulate the world. You know, nature has provided us for this, and whether it's right or wrong, you know, I can't interfere with that. You know, it's like going out. It'd be like fucking dropping off a zebra for a lion instead of having the lion hunt. Like, all of it's, you're affecting nature.
Yeah, and then the writer along those same lines comes to the realization that entering the room sort of makes it that like your intentions, like you were saying, with the difference between like the conscious and the subconscious, where you can totally have the intention of having this sort of goal in mind when going into the room, and you're like, oh, I want to get inspiration from my writing, but ultimately the room would only grant him what his subconscious would want in that moment. And I think him coming to that realization is sort of in part him getting what he wants from that journey. That's
what I mean. That's honestly what I took from the book. Like, the guy did his job, and then all of a sudden he's crying because he's like, I didn't do my job. And it's kind of the state. For me personally, I just say, I'm like, it's kind of the state of the director and the guy that wrote the brothers that wrote the short story, is that we ultimately, now it's different for me because I don't have that perspective, because then, you know, where we're at, it's very individualistic. Like, we can get whatever we want. Now, granted, I would say that not everyone knows the difference between what they want and what they need, and what they're consciously viewing versus what subconsciously drives them. But I think we don't have in America those types of thoughts, you know, because whatever we do want, whether consciously or subconsciously, we can normally obtain.
Yes, so I was thinking that same exact thing, because you have to remember this movie is set in the Soviet era. Yeah. And a lot of what I got from this film is just based on the situations that were happening in real life at the time of filming. Like, people were under this heavy camera lens, basically, like all the time. They had this huge oppressive government. There was no sort of basis for having like an individual thought or like feeling like you should be an individual in a place like that. Like, you feel trapped. And I feel like that's kind of what the characters represented in this film, was they were feeling trapped in their own lives. So they had to go somewhere else where the government didn't want them to go because they were getting shot at and it was like closed off. They had to go to that spot to sort of gain that sense of freedom, that sense of inspiration, or like that hope, because they kept talking about hope in this movie.
I mean, this is just me, but I think it's sense of self. I think that when you're stripped of some of those individualistic traits that we have, what makes us us, they don't have that. So the room for me, when it says your desire, it's your, I think it was just your sense of self and what you do. Like Porcupine, or what was that his name?
Yeah, that was his name.
Was it Porcupine?
Yep.
Okay, because I kept reading. I was like, I don't think that's how you spell porcupine, but like I could be wrong.
Well, it was weird because the word was capitalized when I first saw it, so I was like, oh, maybe that's like a weird like subtitle mishap. Because normally you don't capitalize the word porcupine, but then they started referring to it as an individual person.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, like they're not actually talking about the animal porcupines. They're talking about a person that has gone through what Stalker's going through.
And it was that last little bit of the story when the writer talks about it, and they talk about his death. And I was like, you've got someone that didn't realize what he had or come to that growth, as a character. So that's why he entered the room, because he thought that he wanted to bring his brother back, and he got that large sum of money, and then he realized he's not who he thought he was. And it was enough for him to destroy himself. So
yeah, he realizes that his true intentions weren't to bring his brother back.
Yeah.
Even though that's what he told himself, and he had struggled to go through that journey to hopefully attain like his brother being resurrected, but that's ultimately not what he got, because that's ultimately not what he truly wanted.
And that's when that's that sense of self that I'm talking about, is that you enter that room because like it's hope, but you think you'll discover what will really make you. Mm-hmm. And the one guy that did it killed himself, and the other two guys realized that they didn't need it, or I don't know if Porcupine scared them enough to where they didn't. I mean, I think it's kind of like a funny anecdote, like it's like, all right, you get whatever you want, and then I'm going to tell you about a guy that did it. It's like, all right, did they really make that decision? Or it's like, no, he killed himself, so like even if I become the greatest writer ever, I'm going to kill myself. But I don't think that wasn't the intention of it, but it's just kind of funny thinking like, oh, that's what stopped him.
Yeah.
And then the stalker can't obviously enter the room because he wouldn't be able to do his job anymore, and and for him it's bringing hope to people. And like I said, it's kind of funny that he just has that disconnect when. Yeah,
because if his desires are granted, then his desires could go totally against what his role is as a stalker. So he could totally just like invalidate himself as that role and just not do it anymore, which would be going against like what his purpose is.
And dude, it's so funny though. I mean, like all three guys don't enter the room yet. All three of them do come to well, I shouldn't say a realization, but like the stalker inevitably helps the two guys. They don't enter the room, and they're probably your desires. They come to the realization of who they are.
Yeah.
So like all three of them actually hit the mark, and then the only guy affected is the one that thinks that he fucked up with the other two.
Yep. Just sort of that whole perspective on the situation. Again, kind of relating to like his perspective of bringing people to the zone in the first place, is that his feelings are real, but the direction he's going is like not the right direction. Because he feels one way about it, he feels sorrow and he feels like he didn't do his job, but ultimately he did.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that sort of visual indication of it. I really like the fact that, because I thought the entire movie was going to be in sepia.
Yeah, I know.
At the beginning, I thought that the whole film was going to be shot that way, and this like yellow orange like color or whatever. Like I thought that it was going to be like that the whole time, but I'm glad that it transitioned into color. And to me, it sort of represented like them escaping from their lives that they feel like they can't fix into an opportunity and into hope that they can fix their lives. And that's when you see the color in the film. And the characters sort of in the movie, they represent that feeling that we get as an audience when you first see color, because Stalker embraces the zone as soon as he comes in. Like he feels like he's totally at home now. Like when we're first introduced to him, he's like kind of sneaking out of bed. It seems like he's really out of place and like he doesn't want to be there. But then like as soon as he gets into the zone, he's like hugging the grass and he's like touching the plant life, and he's like just feeling himself and like the environment around him. And to me, that kind of represented like somebody possibly like escaping that sort of Soviet mentality, or like that the physical place that they're in and like going to a better place.
Be like getting out of the 9 to 5 and then going. See, that's what I'm saying. For us, it's like I get out of. It's like I could go to like a driving range, and that's how like it'd be like.
I am truly in the place that I belong.
Yeah, or like that's like Breaking Bad. Like that really just reminds me of Walter White. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. What do you think about? Yes, like 100%. As soon as you get there, I mean, it's kind of like he's entered the realm.
It's like he feels like a place of relief. Almost.
I mean, I really thought I was like, oh, he's entered like the kingdom of heaven. Like I was like, oh, we've escaped like this where they're at, whatever you want to call it. That I mean, that to me that was more of a prison than the zone. I've heard the zone reference as a prison. Like, no, he got to like hope. Like that's what hope looks like because everything's in color and you can smell and it's it's very bright. And everywhere you go, there's a chance of succeeding. Yeah,
it kind of represents a little bit like the sort of risk that you would get in maybe like a more Western society, because in communist Soviet Russia, your life is kind of designated for you. Like everybody is like on the same level except for like the way higher ups in like the government. So like there's really not much like opportunity to fail, but there's not much opportunity to succeed. With the zone, they describe it as like this dangerous, volatile, like ever-changing place, but they also describe it as a place where you can fulfill your dreams and your hopes. Like it's two sides of the same coin, basically. Yeah. Like you risk demise, but you also could gain reward from it. And I think that's sort of ultimately what it kind of represented to me.
Oh, it's like, yeah, Western, making it to the States.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I'd agree with that 100%. I mean, it's anywhere outside of wherever you could have success as a person, not as being part of the community or part of the state.
Yeah, and it, like, to me, represented opportunity. Because, like, there's opportunity to succeed, but there's also opportunity to not succeed.
Yeah, I will show you the rules and I will govern you. I'm not, well, I shouldn't say govern. I will give you advice and I will show you how to make it. You don't have to follow me.
Yep, it's ultimately up to you.
Yeah, if you're making that choice, though, and as God is my witness, you stand here, Professor. He's choosing to do this. And that's, I mean, it feels very much like a guy trying to get like. I think it's just in the mind of a Soviet, and it's like this is how I feel like, And then there's this, like literally they had to make up a fucking made up place, like. Dude, our supernatural stuff is like aliens and goblins and like there's just all this stuff, like we're gonna go to the moon and we're gonna live on the moon, and their fucking supernatural is finding happiness. Yeah, like that's why I was really like, damn,
this like surreal, ever changing reality that they're in. Like the reason that they're tossing the nuts with the cloth.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Is to test out whether or not gravity is still working how they think it is.
Oh, really? That's why they were... Okay.
Yep.
I had no idea. I was like, I don't get this.
I read about that after, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because I guess in the short story, they explained that it was aliens that created that zone.
I did read that, too. So, I mean, it kind of had like an Annihilation feel to it.
A little bit, yeah. It reminded me of that. Just a little more subtle, I guess.
100%. Well, I mean, to me, it's just like you're dealing with the mind and you're entering the mind and trying to navigate your way through a mind, and like, don't go over there. That's where depression's at, like, let's go over here where all the dopamine's at, all that good stuff. Give me some serotonin.
Sepia equals depression. Yeah. It's kind of like Breaking Bad when they go into Mexico and everything's yellow.
Yeah. Like, I was like, man, this is just, it's bizarre to me that this is where they're at, but it also, I think, because of that, philosophically, it does for and the Western, for us,
it resonates.
Yeah, it resonates, and it's a good glimpse into some of the people that you don't necessarily that are living over on the street. Like that might be how they feel right now.
It's certainly, I think, how Andrei Tarkovsky felt during his time living there. Like,
oh, dude, yeah, he came out with Solaris, and then I was just reading a little bit on his background. In '75, like he was gonna get out of like movie making because they were. I don't think the Soviets liked what he was doing.
So I read up on some of the production of this movie.
I did,
which is
go ahead.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So this film was basically shot, and then something happened with the like process of transferring over from film to a computer to be edited, and then like all of a sudden, like basically everything that Tarkovsky filmed got erased. and
Yeah.
he almost like dropped the project altogether because of it, and he ended up firing his first cinematographer over it, which they had
Gorgie.
Let me look
Gorgie Rosebud or Roadberg.
You're on the correct trajectory.
It's some fucking Ruski name.
Gorgie Roberg.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful of a name, but a lot of these are because they're Russian.
Oh my god, dude! We might have read the same thing because I started kind of going through, and all of a sudden it's like Antolinov Yekanovsky, and I was
Alexander Nyahinsky.
Yeah, I was like, I am not reading about all these guys. And then first production assistant,
yeah. So I guess they had a falling out, and Tarkovsky ended up firing him because he was like blaming him in part for like why the footage was erased. And then Tarkovsky basically like had to film it again, like all over. And I guess like some people who had like seen both versions of the movie say like it was pretty similar. Other people say that it was like vastly different from the first version.
It's kind of like that painting that gets destroyed, and then you make like the Mona Lisa. That's like the second copy of it, and I was like, you should have saw the first.
Yeah,
like there might be like it could be identical, and some people will be like, man, that first one was, and there's just no way of knowing it. You're just going off pure nostalgia. So I don't know. I read, yeah. I don't mean to cut you off. I just
no, you're good.
It's kind of funny that people are like, man, that first one was a fucking killer, and it's like, really?
Well, it's weird you get the different perspectives on it because some people said it was the same film essentially. Other people say it was vastly different. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just one of those things that we won't know 100% on because we can't see the first version.
I heard that it got burned up or something like that in 1988. Like, I don't know what version of it was. I don't know if it was the first or second. I thought it went through like reshoots. Like it sounded like it was like 3 years to make this thing.
It took a long time, and there was so many. Did you read up on like the like deaths on this film?
Where they were filming at?
So they were filming in locations that were like heavily like poisoned and radiated and like near power plants and all this stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the cast and crew died because they were filming in these locations and got cancer from it.
One of them, they said there's one.
The writer, the guy who played the writer died because.
Oh, yeah. Tarkovsky. They say that he died because of cancer. Well, he got cancer and they're like, it's probably from fucking making that film.
Mm-hmm. And I think the main actor ended up dying from cancer because I looked up some of the cast in this film, like their pages, and they all say like died at age 49, died 48, died at like 52, like all like these ages where like, okay, these guys clearly should have like lived longer.
Oh, they were saying some of the places that they were at, like the smog, like there was like one scene they said that actually got taken from the original where there's like a fog that slowly crests over the swamp or whatever. And they were like, that's not like mist, like that's fucking chemicals and like metal scrapings in the air that are like burning and hitting the ground and coming like creating poison essentially.
Yeah.
And then they were saying where they were filming at, some of the people like the cast, or not casting but the production, were like up to knee high in oil.
Yeah,
like
there were some shots in this film where like you see like running water, but it's like really discolored, and it's like that's literally poison that's being drained out of a sewer from a nearby plant. Like it's insane the hazardous conditions that they worked in to film this thing.
It's kind of ironic too that that was his room. What he did to people.
Pretty much. It kind of also just goes to show you like the conditions of filmmaking during the Soviet era. Like,
well, dude, did you? Yeah. Well, not only that, I agree with that. Like, well. Two things. One, so I want to say this before because I got to ask about the scenery.
Absolutely. Did
you read on any like he like journaled and stuff? Like he already had like a notion of making this film after Solaris came out in 1972. Like he had a couple journal edits in like 1982 and 1984 or 1983 and 1984. Like people were like reading up on of him talking about making this film, and you can see some of his struggles into how it actually got put out onto film.
Yeah.
And it's like he's a mad scientist. Like that's driven. That's he's so fucking, he's too smart for his own good.
Yeah.
And that's like one of those things where I'm a genius. I know what I need to do, but you also don't identify with the dangers of the world.
Yeah.
And it's not to say you're above it. You're just so fucking. It's got to be narcissistic.
Well, it definitely kind of comes across because it feels like he had to like work hard to like get certain shots in this film and to like get certain like angles and like just the technical stuff that he had to do. Like it kind of feels like he had to sort of grind to make this film. Like it felt like he had determination. And I could definitely recognize it while watching it.
Pain director is how this like came through. I was like,
absolutely,
this dude is like just hanging this out here, and I was like, man, a lot of it was beautiful though. Like that rustic.
I loved the cinematography of this movie. Like I loved how it looked, and I enjoyed like the longer takes too. Like I know some people might have an issue.
People.
But I enjoyed the fact that it lingered on certain shots and you kind of got to appreciate what Tarkovsky saw in what he was filming, because it says that this movie was like 163 minutes. It only contains 142 shots throughout the entire film.
I believe it.
Like, and it says like a good portion of those shots lasted over 4 minutes.
Dude, are you fucking? Did you watch this thing? Like, I got this. I told my brother this. I go, this is what it felt like to watch Too Old to Die Young for you. Like, I was like that, and I love it when it lingers. I was like, I do too, but not a whole film. Like, I like that.
See, I think my issue with Too Old to Die Young was I wasn't getting much out of the characters and the dialogue along with the long takes.
What were this actually had a purpose, and it's it's simple, but it's not simple.
It helps that it makes you linger on the concepts of it because you're also visually lingering on the scene. Like, I think it matches up to me pretty well.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes, and I agree 100%. For me, I don't need that shit. Like, I don't, I do love movies, and I'm a movie connoisseur, and I get it's like I love efficiency in films, and it's like when it makes sense, it makes sense to hold the shot. Like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. There's like a shot one time. It feels like it's just panning in or zooming in on him slowly.
He's doing the Kubrick face.
He's
the Kubrick
just staring. Yeah, and it's like, oh, we're looking at a Mad Men right now, and it's just kind of you're entering his mind, And I like that. The whole film isn't like that. There's just and that was my gripe with it. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's what really turned me off. There's one time. They all fall asleep. They're on the river, and it's literally him just he took a camera, probably had like a freaking like a dolly or something, whatever it is, holding him up, and just him, and it's just like, you're gonna drag me across the river for 150 meters.
Honestly, really liked that part. I loved that so much. I thought it was really good.
I'm just and like I don't knock the camera work. I'm just saying like it's the stuff like that. And then for me, when it's poised, is you're entering the conscious of the actors, and we're like in that. I'm like, I'm already in that headspace with them, and that's where but I'm not saying I'm like everyone else. I think some people just don't even relate, and it's just a turnoff because it's like you don't give a shit about what they're doing. I was fascinated by the zone in the room the whole time. I just didn't need to have all of that.
Yeah, I kind of knew that you would feel that way about like the pacing and the long takes in this film, because it's a slow film. It is like a very slowly paced film. Obviously, like I didn't really have too much of an issue with it, but I could totally see how it would like sort of prevent a certain amount of enjoyment for you or some other people.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. I see those shots because Terrence Malick does it all the time. I was just bitching about Tree of Life last night, and I'm like, he does that in all his. It's a fucking. That's why I call them projectionist films. It's like it's a view of the consciousness of the actor or of what you're at, and you're streaming consciousness
or the director. Yeah,
you're subjecting me to that shit. Like I didn't, that's why I call it ironic. It's like you're trying to fucking be a blowhard about this and say this is what it's like, and it's like, but I have to fucking decide what you're showing me still.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'm kind of, all right. So that the rivers, like he going down the river. I mean, was it just peaceful? Like, what are you as you're going through that scene? Like,
to me, it was kind of an indication of like the history of the zone and like previous expeditions that the stalker might have taken other people on. Because you see, like, you see the writer and the professor, like they throw like shit in the water and they leave it in the water, and like the writer leaves his gun, and the professor like takes apart his bomb and he like throws it in the water, and like you see a very similar shot of a piece of the bomb in the water.
Yeah.
That's like being surrounded by all this fish. And to me, that was sort of an indication of like, okay, the stalker has like kind of gone on like this similar sort of thing before, where he's like led people through and like they've had to like leave objects behind, and there's like a history there, because like you see all these like weird needles, and like you see all these like different like rusted objects in the water, and like all this like stuff that's just like left, all this like garbage and this junk, and like you get a sense of that there's like history there, like whether or not Stalker was leading people, or whether or not that stuff was a result of like the quote unquote meteor crashing and like bending reality in some kind of way. Like that's kind of what I got from it, and I think that's why I enjoyed it.
There are people like, that's what I'm saying. Like you watch a Terrence Malick film and you could tell that, and then you'd be like, man, like that William Dafoe. What was it when he played Van Gogh?
Oh, At Eternity's Gate.
Remember when he's just sitting in the field and it's just we're on him, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, we're supposed to be in this headspace with him. He's peace with the world or serenity, or this is his like, and we're just gonna linger on this for 4 minutes and just watch him. Yeah,
I feel different about that scene because to me it felt a little more pointless.
Well, that's what, but I'm saying, like, I guess I don't want to say it's whether it's for good intentions or not. It's just it's a pile of shit, or whether it's actually designed for purpose. Like I don't know. For me, it's like I don't need it. I don't need to. I'm already in a headspace.
Sometimes you don't get much out of something like that.
I was about to say, but I mean, like you going through. I mean, I guess that's a lot. That's a good like thing to discuss. Talk about is like you're going through this river and you actually get to see the history, and it kind of makes you question. It brings up other points in which actors aren't telling you exactly what to think. I don't know. So 142 takes, is every take like that, or did you have like any point where you're like, all right?
I mean, I was tired when I first watched the film, so I did feel myself like, in pun intended, zoning out sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's when I decided to stop and like pick up the next day, is because I was enjoying where it was going, and I was enjoying like the visual style and like the colors and like the scenery and the music that was accompanying it. But I needed to be in a headspace that was a little more aware.
Yeah.
Because I can see how like if you're watching this film and you are in a certain mood, I could totally see how you would not get much out of this at all, because you are either expecting something else, or like maybe you just aren't in the right mindset for it. Like I could totally see myself not enjoying this film as much if I didn't have the sort of, I guess, patience for it. Because maybe not necessarily patience, but just like the energy,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm not a. Well, I gotta have you watch a Terrence Malick film and just get you.
It sounds like it.
Like just
you keep bringing them up,
dude. It's just I'm calling them projectionist films now, but it's like a stream of consciousness. Like it's just thin red lines like that, where it's like we're toning back on the dialogue, we're doing a lot more with the camera work, and we're putting you in this place with these people, and you're gonna have to take in a lot more than what we're kind of telling you about, which I think is good. Yeah. I don't know if it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes of good. Like that's where I'm at. Like if this
fair enough.
Like literally, it's not a knock on this, because this movie has made me think quite a bit, and I really appreciate it being this is a good movie if other people had seen it at like a dinner conversation.
Oh yeah.
It's not very high stakes. You get to talk about it, and a lot of people would take this in a lot of different ways. I think that's the beauty of
it's so interpretable.
The zone in the room. Like it's just because you get to project, and this is not the film itself. I'm not talking like how it was shot, but just the subject matter and what's being kind of talked about is there's a lot of allegories that you could probably make that people would be able to bring up, and it provides good talking points because it's not necessarily like someone's wrong.
Yeah, like you said, someone could totally have a different perspective on this film, and they would explain it to me, and I would understand where they're coming from.
You'd be able to have a conversation easily, I think, and not say that you're wrong.
Absolutely. I think that's part of why I really like this film so much, and I feel like this film is gonna stay with me long after I've seen it. Like, I'm gonna think about this movie for probably the next couple weeks.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if I will. I don't think I did appreciate it though, and it raises. I mean, really, it just raises some good points for me too. Because like I would go in with the conversation of someone like, if you walked into that room, what's your innermost desire? And see if anyone has any sort of idea where they would, one of the best lines I liked that really helped with this was, the conscious wants, I wanted to eat a salad, but my subconscious wants a juicy steak. How do I know?
The consciousness wants to be vegetarian. The subconsciousness would love a juicy steak. Yeah.
How do I know what I want? How do I know what I don't want? And how do I know what I don't want if I don't want it? Mm-hmm. And it raises, those are really good questions that, I don't think we over here would ask that because anything's at our fingertips, essentially. We have access, and if you want to pull up your bootstraps. But for the Soviet community, the Soviet Union,
it's not as easily attainable at all.
And it's really kind of fun to think about that as a person, because I don't think it's not like they're different than us.
No.
That is a human element of, just being a human, is those questions that we don't necessarily ponder over here. So I like that aspect of it.
Absolutely, because if we were thrust into a similar situation, we'd be asking very similar questions.
I think it'd be really interesting, because I would like to see that in American style. Because I bet you like fucking 5 people walk into that thing and walk out. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think anyone's like, oh man, like you know what, that guy killed himself. Like I'm good with living in my vehicle and writing shitty stuff. Like
no.
I'll be all right.
No, like someone's like Jamie Foxx is gonna walk in that room and fucking get like bitches or whatever.
Oh dude, that would be like when the scientists might be right.
It ends completely different. Like the scientist just fucking blows it up.
Yeah. I was wondering if he was gonna do it. Like I really got to that point and I was like, that's a really good point that I never thought about. I mean, you got people that can't be trusted, and if the stalker doesn't care because he's just trying to provide everyone their hopes and dreams, he's kind of playing, he's not necessarily playing God. But I mean, he's kind of
he's like a servant to God, basically, is how he's described.
Yeah.
And how I kind of viewed him as. And he acted like very servant-like, especially towards the end when he thinks he's failed. Like he feels like a sniveling kind of like servant to a greater power or like a deity. Yeah. Like someone who's like kind of begging for forgiveness. Yeah, exactly.
And he's a shepherd, and he's supposed to lead his flock, and
it helps too that they have those like bits of the Bible in there, like they're reading from like Revelations, and he's like quoting Revelations, and he like keeps going, and they're waking up, and he's like, oh, you guys are awake. Like to me, that sort of cemented like his role in the film is like he is a shepherd to these characters, leading them to salvation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because I didn't get that at first, because when the writer goes off and he says, by God, you're my witness, and he threw that. I was kind of like, oh, he's just trying to get his money. Like, he needs to get him there. And then at one point, he's like, whether you go into the room or not, I still collect. But then, so you think his desires or his motivation is to just get paid. And then you really get to see, I mean, he's crying at the end of it. Like
no, this is his life. Like, this is what he's dedicated himself to.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I was just, and then I didn't really, the ending of it was.
With the daughter and the, like, mind thing.
There's 2 ways. I kind of read up on it, and I was like, it's maybe he realizes that his purpose is to his family, and it is to his daughter, and making her, the miracle that you get is of life, and even though that she's crippled, I want to say, that the miracle is that she's still alive, and you're able to raise her, and you're showing 2 parents that love each other, and I was like, that guy just bawled his fucking eyes out because he didn't get 2 guys. Like, I don't know if he's going back out there.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't go back out there, you just lost your sense of purpose in life. God knows what mental state he's in.
Yeah.
So there was like a very positive spin on it, and I was like, I mean, you're talking like real world, like you just got fired from your dream job, and
Yeah.
Not even like fired. It's just like, oh,
You've got a supportive family, but you don't care about that in the moment. You just care about the dream job that you just lost.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe he comes to. There's maybe a little bit of a positive outlook there, but
yeah, there's so much to gauge from it. I still haven't quite figured out like what the whole mind like thing with the daughter was, but it's I think kind of present in the beginning because you see the glass move on the table, and then like at the very end you see her like directly staring at it and it's moving. Like,
yeah,
there's some bookend element there that is present that I still haven't quite like nailed down what that totally means yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. I swear, by God, I will be a servant to this movie.
Yeah, there we go.
I will lead people to the viewings, and I will gauge the answers.
Just found his zone, baby.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, there was an interesting take with the dog coming back, and that he actually extracted some of his own with him, and you know, if he brought hope back. It's a deep movie. I'll say that.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed.
Much like that scene where the guy drops the rock down the well. It's pretty deep. Pretty deep, man.
How about the fucking professor just like, hey, I slept with your wife and you're going to get back to me from 20 years. Like, that was like him going, I found the room. I'm going to destroy it now.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't.
I was a little confused by that. And then he explains the bomb. I'm like, oh, that's what that was about, I guess. So
yeah, well, he goes, I did bring a bomb. He tells the guy. So the guy had a gun. He goes, all right, can't bring that. The guy's like, I have a bomb. And it's like, why? I just told him to drop the gun. You got a fucking bomb?
Yeah. The professor really went up and was like, oh, wow, he had a gun? What a piece of shit.
Dude, that was making me really laugh. And then all of a sudden he gets on the phone. And he's like, oh, I'm going to call this person. Yeah, hey, I know you slept with my wife, you piece of shit. Like, I'm going to fucking destroy the room. And it's like, you're going to be a disgraced scientist forever. He's like, bring it.
Yeah.
Send it.
Check out my giant cojones right now.
I was like, this is kind of like, do we have to bring that part up? Like, is it really diving into why the professor's doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
it kind of felt like a little bit of like, oh, we've been focusing a lot on like the stalker and the writer, but the professor hasn't like chimed in a whole lot.
And and it was like, you know, not to say the stalk. I mean, obviously, I would say that if you're looking at like wrong traits, the stalker actually leading people breaking the governance rules into the zone, you'd be like, that's, you know, probably that's wrong. And then the writer being a drunk womanizer, pointing out the problems with society, you know, and really focusing on his own self-nature, that's wrong.
Yeah.
The professor, we didn't have anything up to that point. And then even then, though, I'm like, I mean, not to justify it, but the dude slept with his wife. I was like, I mean, I guess I can kind of feel for him. I was like, it still feels like a bad decision, though.
Yeah.
And there'd probably be a better way around that. You know, so I thought it was like a way of like, all right, all these guys with their faults.
Yeah,
know?
that's kind of how I viewed it, too.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page there because it kind of came out of left field. I was like, I don't know why he's talking to this guy. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, he's the bad guy. Like, the writer was just a red herring.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
And then we get to the scene, and it's just like, no, they just all kind of come to their own conclusions.
Yeah. They sort of like have their own revelations, much like that passage from Revelations being read.
See, that's, I think I
might be stretching it a little bit there, but
they tried to, there were a decent amount. I feel like a heavy-handed subject pieces doled out in this, but it flowed well.
Yeah,
and
I think it did too.
I mean, like, honestly, like I was telling someone today because they were like, "Oh, like, should we watch this?" I was like, "Yeah, probably not gonna like it." It's like, why? It's like, well, it's a 2-hour 40-minute film, but probably 20 minutes of dialogue. But I mean, the dialogue that is in it really aids the pace of the film going forward. And I will say, I felt like some of the shots, like I had the feeling of it's dragged out this long so we can feel what it's like trying to obtain something that's unobtainable. You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that it was purposeful. So I'm not giving it shit. And it might be ADHD. It could be whatever. I get into like okay, I'm good on the fucking like.
You're like, I get it.
They had one that's just like, it just set up a camera and they were just with the field, just watching the field. And I think it was like at the river or something like that when they just set it up. Some of the tracking shots on the dolly are good. I mean, some of the shots are really creative. And then some of them are just like, hey, we're on the fucking railroad track, just
Yeah, you're looking at the back of their head. But I enjoyed that because it mirrors a scene later where like the writer is kind of looking off and he's like contemplating like the whole concept of like the room and like what it means to him. Like I liked that when it popped up later. In the moment I was like, what is this about? But
yeah,
it sort of justified it.
I for sure, and I'm not gonna. Yes, I agree. I think a lot of those shots. I mean, probably if you ask someone, all 142 shots have purpose. I'm not going to discredit that. It's not efficient to me, and I'm soaking it all in as we go. So yeah, the pacing of it really slowed it down for me. But the subject, I mean, the fucking man, heavy, good, deep. I mean, it provides a lot of fodder and material. And if you catch yourself talking to another intellectual, bring it up.
Big brain time.
Oh man.
I will say real quick before we kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
I really liked the music too. Thought the music was pretty fitting. A little weird, a little kind of a product of the time, but I think it fit very well.
It was ominous. It was a little eerie, and I'm telling you, dude, you don't know what the fucking zone or the room is. Like the whole time, I gave it credit for that too. I was like, man, like we're here, and I'm still with these guys walking through now. I would like them to fucking speed it up, but like I still don't know what they're gonna get to or what this is all about. You're just in the zone, and he keeps talking about it, and it was like almost like he's living in a painting, and you're like, here we are, and it's still nothing. Like the metal nuts now makes sense, but like the whole time it really could have been just like this, like. They didn't go anywhere. They were in Russia still. It was just an escape, and he brought him there to some place, and he just was collecting money. He could have been a hustler.
Yeah, could have been just a bum that was like really charismatic. Like, hey, I know this place.
Yeah,
let me tell you about it.
Guided a whole bunch of people here, and it changed them. I mean, it's just a mind flip. They didn't go in there, and they found self-discovery. So I mean, the point being is you just don't know what it is where you're at.
Yeah,
and I thought that was good because I think the whole time you do care about where it's going.
Part of the fun is like discovering what it means along the way.
The curiosity is 100% there the whole time because you honestly don't know until you get to that point. And then when you get there, it's almost like, have you ever seen Kung Fu Panda?
The first one, long time ago. Don't remember much from it.
He does this thing with the scroll, and they look at the back of it, and it's like, what? It's just a fucking, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
It's you. It's always been you. Like the idea that there's this magic conch there, and it's not. It's just you as people, but. Point. I mean, he did lead other people to the room, and they did. I think he said that they had success or whatever. So.
I think that's why he said the zone reacts to like your mentality. Like he keeps saying it's up to you whether or not you survive the zone, because it is like a very individual journey. Yeah. There is some element that it is about the environment, but more so about the characters.
Yep, I would agree with that. So.
We can wrap this up. What would you rate this film?
Man, I had it at a 6 out of 10, but I think I'm going to go to 7 out of 10. And I think kind of like how you are with the Black Phone, with me, I just can't get past the pacing of it. But in terms of content, so I mean, I think this would be a film that I would actually recommend to people if they were like, hey, you want to talk about a movie?
Nice.
Like, I would want to know like kind of what your thoughts are on it, because everyone views it differently, and it's a great perspective film, and I don't think anyone walks away with necessarily. I mean, we kind of had the same thoughts on it, Yeah. But I think there's still more there if we wanted to chew off. That this could be a whole nother 2-hour discussion about,
absolutely
breaking it down part one, that we won't do.
There's a lot of meat to this movie.
Yeah. But,
we'll spare you, audience. We'll spare you the time.
But I it's talking about it. I think it will stick with me. I don't think it's something that I'm going to ponder or think about. But it will stick with me, because I think if I run into something and we talk about Stalker, like I'd be like, oh, what's your take?
Absolutely. I give this a 9 out of 10.
Yep.
I really love this movie.
I felt like that was coming.
You saw it from a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
Much like Andrei Tarkovsky saw a certain shot a mile away, and he just fucking stuck on it for 4 minutes.
That dude gave everyone in his party cancer.
Yep, and himself.
R.I.P. Oh. Damn.
Speaking of cancer, we got some questions from the fucking Facebook. So
good.
Yeah.
Pivot, man.
Made a post on Facebook. We got some questions from our lovely listeners. So thank you guys in advance for dropping some bits for us to talk about. So yeah, I guess we can get into it.
Yeah.
Our first question comes from Andrew. With Better Call Saul ending soon, who are your top 10 favorite characters from that universe, Better Call Saul / Breaking Bad?
Oh, you were just living in this.
I made a list ahead of time.
Oh yeah, you've had that list since 2015.
Yeah. I made it when I first watched Breaking Bad, before I knew Better Call Saul would exist.
Yeah, so you probably had to have like a...
I predicted all the characters.
Oh, yeah.
So, should we kind of give like a maybe slight spoiler warning for Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul? Like, how much of this do you want to talk about, like in terms of like characters and like where they're going and where they might be at? Or do you want to do it like completely?
I haven't seen the latest season or 2 seasons. I think the latest one came out, and that's been since
Better Call Saul.
Yeah, so I know unless there's more character introductions into the latest season, so that would have to really ratchet. Like,
what season are you at with Better Call Saul?
The last episode that I remember is him and Mike in the desert.
Okay,
doing the run.
Season 5. Okay,
yeah. So I think
because I have a character on here that isn't introduced until season 4. So I just want to make sure. Yeah,
he's on mine too. Don't worry.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So I guess I can go first.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 1 is Walter White.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Jimmy McGill. I think Jimmy's a great character. Specifically, Jimmy McGill from Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Jesse Pinkman.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Kim Wexler.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 is Lalo Salamanca.
Yes.
Number 6 is Nacho Varga from Better Call Saul.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I really like Nacho.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm like a fan of the actor. Like, I've enjoyed pretty much everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
Number 7 is Hank Schrader.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Gus Fring.
Okay.
Number 9 and 10, I might actually end up switching, but for number 9 right now, I have Todd Alquist from Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
God.
And then number 10, I have Howard Hamlin from Better Call Saul.
Yeah, Hamlin was good.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he exit after season 2 or 3?
No.
Or is he still sporadically?
He's still around. Yeah.
Because he's competing against Jimmy McGill's partnership now with Kim, right?
Yeah.
He
I guess
slight
spoilers for Better Call Saul. Yeah.
Well, we said that it would fucking happen.
Okay.
That's not even like...
Well, I wasn't sure if you agreed to it or not.
Well, I don't want to know anything past season 5. Like, I don't...
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will say, like, spoilers for
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, just in case. Like, well, I'll timestamp this. So
I was about to say, I mean, that's not a big time spoiler. Like, I don't think that's like one where it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everyone sees that one coming a mile away.
Was there anything on my list you were kind of surprised about? I feel like you were a little surprised with Todd.
Todd, yeah. I mean, I don't.
That's why I said I might switch him and Howard, because I think I like Howard more than Todd as a character.
Right.
Todd's still, to me, like an interesting character. Like, I like the concept of him and what he represents, but he's not in it a whole lot, and I think Howard is just, to me, a more compelling character because he's in more of that show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But was there anything else that was, like, a little bit of a surprise?
Nacho Varga.
Okay.
I mean, I can't really... And Kim being at 4.
It was, like, you're not sure why she's that high?
Yeah.
I really like Kim. I think Kim is like one of the best parts of Better Call Saul. Like, I think she's a strong character.
She does play a good contrast to Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a good character to accompany Jimmy, and like sort of like bounce off each other. Like, I think their dynamic is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Kim. I don't think she's not. I did not. I mean, I'm gonna go off the top of my head right here. I was looking at this today, and I was like, I don't know if I could come up with 10. But I mean, rattling it off, I'd know.
So you want to go through yours?
Well, I'm still kind of. I mean, Nacho's kind of high. Kim was high.
I have a decent amount of Better Call Saul characters on here.
Recency bias.
I guess maybe it could be, but
well, honestly though, I mean, when you talk about Breaking Bad, there's really only 5.
Well, and there's like overlap. So like Gus is in both shows. Jimmy's in both shows. So you've got, just kind of overlap, of course, because they're the same universe. Better Call Saul's a prequel, but that's pretty much my list right there. I thought about putting Jesse at number 2 because I really do love Jesse as a character, but I don't know, like maybe it's recency bias, but I really enjoy Jimmy as a character in Better Call Saul.
He's good.
He's super compelling.
I mean, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And well, I mean, you got the 2 main actors at 1 and 2. Like, it's probably expected. Like, I don't think there'd be anything.
Nothing too surprising.
Dude, 1, 2, and 3, if it's Jimmy, Jesse, and Walter, like, however you shit, it's probably, I mean, you're going to find some people that are maybe like, I love Gus Fring.
Yeah.
Like, or, you know.
Gus is, I mean, he is an interesting character, Gus is, but there are some characters that I think I enjoy watching more.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's how mine would shape up as who I really like on screen,
Yeah. I almost thought about putting Chuck on here because he is a compelling character. But I don't know. Like, I might replace Todd with him, honestly.
Who's Chuck the...
Chuck's Jimmy's brother in Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I don't know if I...
Well, like, he's a good character, I would say. Like,
he is.
Like, morally, he's not amazing. Like, he's an asshole, but... he's fun to watch and like kind of like contrast Jimmy, like they're like opposites.
Well, he's a reflection of being a rational man and upholding law and justice. So everything that he does should be defined principles of the world, and that's why he can't stand Jimmy. Yeah, so that's why they do. I think the only thing that I really didn't like about him is they had to give him a flaw.
Oh, the allergy, the electricity allergy.
All that that's why it's the only thing that it's not his fault as a character. It's the only thing I just didn't like, and I don't know why they have to, maybe to make him not be so upstanding. So it's like no one could be that virtuous. Yeah. I think that's why that's the only reason why I didn't like Chuck.
So what would your list look like? More or less. So, I
mean, we'll go 10. I mean, and for the most part, it's probably going to go off of just who I enjoyed watching. 1, Walter. Yep. 2 would be, it's...
Brock.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go Jimmy just because I really like. I mean, Better Call, dude. That character is like, both of those guys are holding that fucking show. Yeah, both shows. Like, if he's not, one, I'm gonna say this too, for what he did to be in Better Call Saul after Breaking Bad and make it just as good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's tough to do. Like, hey, we're gonna take your side character and you're gonna have to carry this for 6 seasons. Yep. That's not easy.
No. And he knocks it out of the park.
100%. That's why I really love Bob Odenkirk too as just an actor.
Yeah.
Like,
he's great.
Him and
Bryan Cranston?
Yes. I just love. Like, just as actors in general.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where Cranston's gone.
They're doesn't look super talented.
Great, but number 3 would be Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah, I didn't have him on my list, I think, because I don't know. Like, I wasn't like as attached to Mike as like a lot of people. Like, I enjoy Mike. I enjoy like seeing his story and like watching it unfold, but I don't know. I feel like I didn't have as much of a connection with him as other people do. But I can totally understand.
Like, it's funny because I think I'm more Mike Breaking Bad than I am Mike in Better Call Saul. Like, that's the Mike that I like. That before, and I like getting the backstory on Mike now and seeing how he's come to. But Jaded Mike is the one that I like.
Yeah.
How do you like that one?
Like not putting up with anyone's shit anymore. Type Mike.
Like
even more than he does in Better Call Saul.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jaded Mike Sebastian, there's a couple scenes with him and Breaking Bad that he pulls his weight and he doesn't, just being this grumpy old man,
Yep.
One of the cool episodes is when him and Jesse are driving around.
Oh yeah. Their like relationship that kind of forms.
Yeah.
And you get like another thing I like about Better Call Saul too is like you get a sense that like Mike is sort of like he gravitates towards that type of relationship because obviously like Better Call Saul you find out that like what happened to his son and then like the thing with there's like stuff with like Werner Ziegler and like all that like he just has like this sense of like wanting a friendship or like a relationship with like people who ultimately like it doesn't work out because they're in the game,
Yeah, I think he's got a yearning to give advice from life. He's a wise old man.
Yeah.
And no one listens to him. And he's like most of the time when Mike says something, he's probably right.
Yep.
And it's funny because he builds this relationship with the people that he wants to help, but ultimately it won't do any good because they're in the game. Like you said, I mean, it's just he can't, and he sees his life and it says this is what you need to do to not be in this life, and that's why I think he eventually just gets jaded to the point where he just doesn't give a shit because can't get anyone to listen to him.
So that was your number 3?
Mike, yeah.
Okay.
Number 4 would be Hank Schrader.
Nice.
Number 5's Jesse. Oh man, I can't believe, dude, they're just so fucking hard. Lalo's number 6, but Lalo could be number fucking 4.
Yeah, dude, Lalo could be easily up there.
I mean, he's got barely any screen time.
He makes such an impression though. Like
Dude,
he's that good of a character.
When he got introduced, I was like, "Oh, who's Lalo? Like, what's up, man? Like, let's go." And then
he's just fucking cooking tacos, just like
having the time of his life,
enjoying life.
He's like, there's one episode someone could get in trouble. He's like, let's see how this shapes out.
Yeah.
Just fucking. He's got this sucker in there. He's just like literally mercenary. Right? Like he is Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Like except he's like 10 times more charismatic.
Yeah, I mean he's obviously like yes.
He's a smooth talker.
Exactly. That's why you got to love him because he doesn't have to play by the rules.
And that's why he's like that's why he's able to have such an effect on Jimmy is because like Jimmy's so used to like smooth talking to people and then he comes across somebody who can equally if not better smooth talk to him.
Yeah. Like that, man. I got to get up with season 6. So who's that? That was Lalo's number 6.
Yes.
Oh man, I got 4 left. I probably hit all of the. I was trying to think of some ones from like earlier episodes or like Breaking Bad or even Better Call Saul. I think there's like a limited range on characters that you could probably select from. Hamlin would be in there. I think I'd put Hamlin at 10 though. So now I got 7, 8, and 9. I do like him. He's actually from this movie called The Last Exorcism.
Okay. Patrick Fabian is the actor's name.
Yeah. Yes. Not to that, but there might be a movie recommendation coming up.
Oh.
So 7. I got 7, 8, and 9.
Yes. It's difficult to think on the spot.
Well,
especially when you get to like the later half, because like you can bang out like 1 through 5 so easily. Like, oh, this character.
See, and I'm not a big fan of Gus.
I can, yeah.
You know what?
I can understand that.
You see different intentions and motives and how the character is portrayed with what he's designed to do. And even though he is calculated and all, it just doesn't strike me as like, oh, that awesome.
Yeah.
No,
I totally get that. And I think that's kind of why he's on like the later half of my list.
Yeah.
But
and even in both like seasons, like it's like, all right. Could I rope 2 guys together?
Sure.
Badger
and Skinny Pete.
Yeah, I'd throw them together. Even though they're fucking idiots, I think one of the fun conversations that ever happened was when they do the Star Trek convo.
They're definitely like the comic relief of Breaking Bad after a certain point.
Yeah.
Because like the show starts out like kind of a black comedy, and then it it goes into way more of a drama. Like there's way less moments of like humor and levity, but then like you still have those two just goofing around.
But they just don't get it. They're so far on the outside. They don't know what's being constructed. You know, they play their part though. They're just they're fucking druggies. Like how would they be observant to the world around them? You know. Like Jesse's building an empire, and they are still like, oh, it's our friend Jesse that's going to sell us meth.
Yep.
Like, so at number 9, we will do number 9. I can't think of it. Like 5, 6. Oh, the vacuum cleaner.
Oh, the disappearer.
Yeah.
Robert Forster.
I would say number 9.
R.I.P.
Yeah, no, definitely. But even as small of a role that he has, like. That's what I was trying to think. There's a couple characters that like Werner, I think, and
Better Call Saul
in it for maybe a handful of episodes. I liked him. I like that whole gang.
He was enjoyable.
I could really put that whole gang together and say the Germans.
Oh yeah,
like that would be like that. Actually, might be 10. Like I don't know. Like they're more memorable than Hamlin is, and I really like those performances that you get through a couple, here and there. Like I can't remember what if anything happens to him or what goes down, but like everyone, it's more of kind of how I enjoyed hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Or just their performance alone.
Honorable mention, Tuco.
Yeah, I was thinking about him, but I didn't. He's a good character. He's just a little too over the top for me.
That and he's not in it a whole lot.
Right.
But I think he leaves an impression. For sure.
Oh, you say Tuco Salamanca, everyone knows who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. We can move on to our next set of questions from Justin. His first question is, are there any songs that remind you of a specific movie? Is there anything that comes to mind, McClain?
Yeah, I Sing a Prayer for You. If I hear that, I know you're talking about my best friend's wedding.
Okay.
Top Gun.
Top Gun for sure. Not
the anthem, but Danger Zone.
Take My Breath Away.
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Right now, it's actually Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. So I hear that and know exactly we're talking about Stranger Things.
Something in the Way with the Batman recently.
By the Nirvana?
Yep.
By the Nirvana, Old Man Mac.
By the
Jesus
Nirvana.
Christ.
I love listening to them on the YouTube.
He's so mid.
Most recently, for some reason, like I rewatched Devil All the Time, and
really
they do a lot of like church hymns in that movie, and the Blood of the Lamb, like that church hymn. For some reason, like now whenever I hear that, I'm gonna think of that movie. Because it's such a dichotomy from like the message of the hymn to like what the movie's about, a lot of conflicting sort of themes that go well together in contrast.
Yeah.
There's a few songs in Baby Driver, I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know if it's like something that was made for the movie, but like when he's running through the store and like stuff like that. Not really heavy spoilers for Baby Driver, but like the scene where he's like trying to run away from something. There's like that whole thing, and then there's a scene involving windshield wipers.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen Baby Driver.
Okay, well, good thing I'm not spoiling it then.
Yeah, I was about to say. Said that, and I was like, all right, I don't have to say. Hold on now.
Yeah. No. No worries there. I think. I'm having kind of a hard time thinking of ones for this one.
For the music?
Yeah.
I mean, Thor, Ragnarok, whenever I hear Led Zeppelin, Immigrant Song, that immediately pops up into my head. Deliverance.
Oh, yeah.
Doing banjos.
Let's see.
Ride of the Valkyries, I think of Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah, dun da 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 da, like that one.
Yeah, and I've only seen that movie once, but they were in the helicopter and they were spraying. It was like I think they were just gunning down or dropping napalm. I can't remember, but they were like with the helicopter. It was pretty dope. I mean,
a lot of Christmas songs, specifically "Run Run Rudolph." I think of like so many Christmas movies
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way, Home
it.
Alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it could totally have it in it. I don't know. But
it probably does.
Whenever characters are rushing around or like panicked in a Christmas movie,
you know that's coming on.
That song is fucking playing.
Oh yeah,
round round Rudolph, Santa's gonna make it to town.
Is that Chuck Berry?
I have no clue.
I think that's Chuck. I think that's how they helped him out, with stealing all his music.
Oh,
on royalties.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of Christmas songs with certain films. I almost said food. Certain food too.
Interesting.
Yeah, my subconscious going against my consciousness right there.
Bohemian Rhapsody with Wayne's World.
Oh yeah. That's a big one.
I think the other aspect of this too, though, is like you'd have to play us a song, and like I'd be like, oh yeah, it's in this film, you know.
Certain songs with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Come and Get Your Love by the Redbones.
Yeah.
Native American.
If you like
band.
Pina Coladas, also Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, that one actually, when I hear that one, I think of Shrek.
Oh yeah.
If you like Pina Coladas.
Smash Mouth. Speaking of Shrek.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of. Yeah.
I Need a Hero is in Shrek 2 at the end.
Actually, is it?
Yeah. I need a hero.
Oh, and I was about to say there's another one by Nickelback.
Oh, and they say that a hero could save us. Did you know that music video?
In your way.
That music video is
costs
promoting
more than the movie.
It's promoting Spider-Man 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you look up the music video for that song, it's like them on a rooftop and it's like crumbling around them, and then fucking Spider-Man swooping around.
Yeah, I remember the music. Video. I thought it was just kind of like, hey, like we're just gonna. This is part of the film.
Yeah.
Promoting. It probably is, but that actually, and I haven't heard that one in a minute.
Damn,
I had it.
There's a Queen song in Shaun of the Dead where they're like beating up the zombies with the pool cues. It's like,
don't stop me.
Yeah, don't stop me now.
I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That one reminds me of that scene.
I was about to say, like, look at us go.
I know. We're snapping them off left and right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, because you said I need a hero, and then I said hero, because there was another one I was thinking about, and it's eluded me now, but I'm sure it will come back. You know,
I finished watching a show on Netflix called Dark, and
it's about the German show with the time portal.
Something like that. Yeah. Have you seen it?
First season. Saw it in 2017 or 18.
If you ever finish it, we should talk about it.
Whoa.
But the intro song to that is also in Breaking Bad during a scene.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. No spoilers, but it's the scene where Gus is walking towards an old folks' home.
Don't remember that.
A lot of people don't. I've brought it up to a couple, and they don't they don't remember it.
Not all of us have seen it 10 times, Kyle.
I mean, I do have that advantage. I will admit.
Picking up on some of the smaller cues.
Oh, another Breaking Bad one.
Oh, here we go.
My Baby Blue. When I hear that one,
dude, yeah,
I heard that at Sam's Club so much.
Really?
Like they'd play it over the radio.
Dude, you know what happened? Well, it's the same as the Stranger Things one. It's a phenomenon. It's a big, song comes out. It's kind of, it hasn't been dusted off in a while, and all of a sudden it's just like fuck, like
yeah, it's just blowing up.
Oh, dude, Bad Company,
breaking records.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I don't. Yeah, no, that's. Master of Puppets now with Stranger Things I might think of. There are some songs that do pop up though that when I hear it I'm like, oh, I remember it. Dude, there's like a sweet scene with but some of them just don't pop in the head. But yeah, those Space Jam, I don't know if that one counts.
I would say so. Yeah. That's a song that they also played that at Sam's Club.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, they must.
It was when the new one was coming out.
Oh. That and then Fly Like an Eagle. Every time I hear it, do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I hear that, I think of the MJ dunking.
Dude, the first Space Jam definitely had a killer soundtrack.
Oh, like, dude, are you kidding? We own me and my brother own that. Like that got pumped like when we were in college. Like you could do that, Fly Like an Eagle, Hit 'em High, Hit 'em Low.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think. There's a couple other hits on there too. That's part of the fuck. That and Jock Jams. Like, they probably stole some of that.
We can move on to our next question.
Okay, that's fair.
Favorite animated movie?
Really?
Yes.
Akira. No, I'm just joking. Don't.
Akira would be up there. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite, but
No, I don't think you could. I don't think it'd be fair because you've only had it in your mind for 2 years.
that's true. That is very true.
I mean, there's movies that are older, like Land Before Time. You probably saw when you were 5.
Dude, I saw like so many Land Before Time movies, and I don't remember anything about them.
Damn. Shameless plug for Land Before Time.
I was
just
a little
got shit on.
I was a little baby. I was a little dumb baby.
Oh, look at him drooling. He's so dumb.
Yeah. I might have to take a quick sneak peek at my
Animated film list.
my letterbox real quick. So if you think of any, you can definitely go ahead and rattle some off.
Animated. Well, you got all the Pixar stuff in Disney, which I think that's probably where I would fall in. I don't know if I can think of an animated film that I've seen that is of a grown-up nature. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think Disney Pixar, like Scanner Darkly. Haven't seen that.
Right.
I don't even know if you call that. It's got to be animated.
Ooh. Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's pretty great.
That's claymation.
It's still animated. I mean, it's half the word claymation. Animation.
Well, you can't just steal mation.
Yes, you can. I do all the time.
And I'm doing it right now.
And I'm doing it right now.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah, no, I got the Isle of Dogs.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Oh. No, I was going to say, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I don't know. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
No, that's claymation. You can't take claymation.
Stop motion animated comedy film is what Wikipedia says.
Stop motion animated?
Yes. It's still animation.
I
mean, it's kind of the same concept as like, oh, you draw pictures on a series of paper and then you like continually flip them and you see an image move. That's kind of the same thing, you know? You're just like,
it's not.
You're taking, well, in concept, you know?
Wow.
I will die on this hill. And
Carbonated
I will
water is popped then.
I'll die on this hill and I'll let Kate Bush run up it.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Like to climb that bush, am I right?
Oh.
Wait, no, I meant that hill. Dude, I don't know.
Running
Man,
up
shit,
that
now
hill.
you're fucking now I'm the spot that I gotta think of something clever now.
I mean, if we don't count Miss Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Okay.
Spirited Away is pretty great.
What are we doing? Are you not giving into corporations now or something?
Yes. Fuck Disney is what I'm saying.
Not gonna fall into your trap.
I mean, childhood favorite, The Lion King.
Yeah. I mean that's what I'm saying. Like I would Finding Nemo I think is probably like my number one. And that's the only one that
That's a
pops
good
up.
pick.
Monsters Inc. falls in
Yeah.
there. Those two
I
are probably
loved Monsters Inc. so much as a kid.
hardest I ever laughed in theaters besides Borat. Monsters Inc.
Nice.
And it's two wildly contrasted movies.
Yep.
Same guttural laughter though.
That's pretty great.
Yes.
God, I haven't seen Monsters Inc. in so long.
Dude, still holds up.
Excellent. That's
Yes.
good to hear.
Like it still holds up.
That is amazing to hear because I super enjoyed that film as a kid.
Yeah.
We can move on to our next question. What's your ideal runtime for a movie? I think it depends.
2 hours and 41 minutes for Kyle.
Any less, not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it at all.
Don't show me. Wait till you watch Tree of Life. That's like 3:15. And that's more visuals and less dialogue.
Excellent. One day I should recommend Satan Tango. 7.5 hours long.
Oh, dude, there's like, we could do the unedited version of Das Boot.
How long is that?
I think that's like 4.5.
Oh, excellent.
Like that's just
Make a day out of it.
Yeah. That's what, there are movies out there that we could just fucking like, yeah.
I think myself, I tend to gravitate, I mean, obviously with our discussion about Stalker, but I tend to gravitate towards movies that are longer, but
content's got to be there.
It depends on what the movie is going for and like what the quality of it is. Because a movie could be 80 minutes long and it's like a piece of shit, or it could be something like Primer where it's fucking amazing,
concise, really quick to the point.
Like
that's deviate. Nice little runtime.
Primer is probably my favorite movie that is that short.
Would you say it's a prime example?
I would say so.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there are movies like, Stalker or Devil All the Time that are like over 2 hours long that I really love.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
you know, and
Content's
Blade Runner 2049, one of my favorite movies of all time. That's
How long
like
was that?
2 hours and like 43 minutes.
Was it really? God, that went down smooth.
Yeah. It depends on the pacing. It depends on the quality and like how much I get out of a film.
You're still avoiding the question, Kyle. I haven't heard an answer yet. What is your ideal runtime?
I guess I don't really have one. But if I had to pin it down,
Just go in between.
I would say a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid runtime for most movies.
I think I'm in the same boat. Like I think anywhere from like 110 to 130 is pretty good. But like you said, the content's got to be there. Like I think Jurassic Park's a 2 hour 20-minute slog.
Exactly.
Like that one just it was like, man, this is not ending. You know. But,
absolutely.
And then there are movies like Blade Runner 2049 where it's a quick almost 3 hour movie. The
pacing of a film does so much for the runtime if it's like a longer movie.
Like that's what. Thank you. Titanic would be another good example, but I'm big on content. If it's a short movie, I'm like 80 to 90 minutes. How about this? If it's supposed to be short, 80 to 90 minutes. Get me in, get me out. The ones I think that suck are hour 40, hour 50. Like you know, it takes an hour and 45 minutes. Like I think that there's just either you're trying to cram too much into a little bit of space or you've dragged it out way too long.
Yeah.
You know? So, and you know, movies that go over 2 hours can do that too. But like, you know,
it depends.
Yeah.
It really depends.
But I think I'm with you though. If it's over 2 hours, I'm usually like, I think I'll be enthralled because there's going to be enough content there to hold my mind.
Yeah. I think that's a solid time. For the most part, few exceptions, but
actually you can see the reflection with the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know how the pacing of this episode is and what your preferred runtime is, and we'll tell you to go fuck yourself.
There we go.
His next question is for me. Kyle, do you prefer Point Break or Speed? kind of a resuscitation of the last question on the previous episode. I would say Point Break. I've seen it more, and I think I enjoy that film more. Yeah, I like Speed a lot, too. I like both films. You like
Speed 2?
Not Speed 2 with Sandra Bullock, no. I like Speed also.
Okay.
Yes. But I think Point Break is my preferred.
You haven't seen Speed 2?
No, because it doesn't have Keanu in it, so why would I? What's the point? Oh, you have an idea. I see the wheels turning in your head.
There's a couple. I'm trying to. So after, anyways, I'm not cutting you off. Answer, Justin. If that's, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That is my answer.
Okay.
Point Break.
Cool.
Which one do you prefer? I'll ask you.
Point Break, 100%. I mean, it's juicier. I think it's more fun. The stakes are high, but it's in such a light manner.
Yeah.
Whereas. You see a person die at Speed, like multiple people.
Yeah.
Like it's like, man, it's kind of
like Point Break feels like there's a little more weight to it. Speed, it feels like a lot of people are like kind of just fodder,
Yes. Like that's where, and that's Point, dude, dead presidents, surfers robbing banks.
Yeah.
And you got Johnny Utah from the fucking played quarterback.
Yep.
At Ohio State, and now he's a undercover fucking Vice.
Yeah,
dude, it's got everything there.
It's got a lot. There's a lot you can unpack.
Johnny's got a lot of demons, don't you, Johnny?
Oh, Patrick, I wish you were still with us. Our next question is from Katie. It's a pretty common one, I would say, just for questions in general.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Do I have to go first?
Sure.
This is my go-to. I could sneeze quarters.
You've told me that before.
Yeah, I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I would never be without money. If I had to
I feel like that would hurt, though.
Huh?
Wouldn't that hurt?
Well, if there's superpowers, we're obviously expanding the nasal passage when I sneeze them.
I'm trying to picture. So when you say sneeze quarters, do you mean like you go achoo and then like a few quarters just fall out? Or do you go achoo and you like shoot quarters out of your nose like a machine gun?
I would say depending on how hard the sneeze is. Like if this were a movie, there'd be at one point where it's like I can't sneeze, and obviously we're getting into a pinch. And then, I mean, if it's like The Boys, like someone makes me sneeze and it's like a really like, and then like I just blast someone's head off with 50 pounds of quarters at them.
Yeah.
If it was a Disney movie, probably not as heavy, or they don't show it. But no, anytime I sneeze. So if I get allergy season going, imagine that too. I'm a superhero. People would follow me on the streets. Mm-hmm. I'd probably get captured. Actually, episode would be when the homeless capture me. And then they'd tickle my feet or something like that, or they tickle my nose.
Yeah, well, we found the fountain.
Yeah, and I'm held hostage, but they also know that the harder I sneeze, the more powerful the quarters are coming at them.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have to be careful about it.
Yeah,
There's
a whole nuance to it.
Oh, and then there's an episode where I get a stuffy nose and I'm no good to anyone, and I have to find my true self and how I can fight.
It's kind of like Spider-Man 2, where he kind of loses his powers a little bit.
Yeah. Except I'm taken out because of fucking
sinuses.
Yeah. Worst hero ever. But I'll tell you what. Anywhere we go, it's dude, we need $5. Let's go. Mm-hmm.
I would probably. I would normally say invisibility.
Okay.
But right now, I'm kind of leaning towards having stretchy body. Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Or what? Yeah, Mr. Fantastic, is that what they call him? Whatever.
The kids.
Stretching out or
Stretch
whatever.
Armstrong.
Pretty much. Because then I could pretty much shape my body into how I want, and I could look like I have the body of Henry Cavill.
Oh. Wow.
Not like I already don't, but
Is that stretching the body?
I could stretch certain things and make them a little bit more favorable.
Yeah. Your feet, right?
and if I'm just sitting down somewhere, I could stretch my arm all the way to the fridge and grab a soda. I wouldn't have to get up and walk.
That's true.
And it wouldn't matter if I get out of shape because of that, because I could just shape myself into shape.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a whole system that I've thought about.
Atrophy out the window.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I start aging, I can just stretch my skin to make myself look younger. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, now you're getting into what happens when you stretch too much and you develop stretch marks?
Well, then that's just the process of aging, and one day I'll look like I'm 25, and then the next day I'll just fucking die and fall over, and then my body will just disintegrate.
And then because
I can't hold it anymore.
They do the medical records, and he's like, by God, he's born in 1993. And it's 2290.
Yeah, as I age, my body is doing more work for me to do the stretches that I want.
Yeah.
So it just I just turn into dust.
That's it. It just eventually it's like a rubber band that just snaps and disintegrates into 1,000 pieces. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah. And then what we can do is you could stretch your body out, and then I could shoot quarters off your stomach at the bad guys.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
we could make up a superhero team.
Yeah.
I'll call myself Slingshot. You call yourself Quarter Pounder.
Yeah. There we go. Hey,
there we go.
That's easy on the physique there. Not all of us can stretch out.
I meant you're pounding the bad guys.
Right. Yeah.
Not in that way.
Yeah, you get them in a chokehold and I'll pound their ass. Wow.
Marvel, we have an idea.
Yeah. How do you think Mr. Disney would take to that?
Hello, Marvel? Just hang up. Our last question comes from Chris. How will the Minions, the Rise of Gru, affect the economy? I think in the short term it'll flourish, but in the long term it will prove to be disastrous.
You think this
answer.
Is what leads to the revolution?
I think this is what leads to Revelations, a.k.a. the Rapture.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it.
No. It all comes back to Stalker. It all comes back to Stalker.
Yeah.
Is what I'm putting down.
Epitaph?
Yeah.
All right.
So that'll be on my gravestone. Yeah, no. How will the Minions, the Rise of Gru, affect the economy, McClain?
Not sure. I don't think that's maybe a blip.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's going to be a little bit of the TikTok crowd coming out.
Honestly, it'll affect culture more than the economy.
I don't know.
Well, you've seen it already with the gentle minions. Have you heard about that?
I think there's a lot of fads going on right now. I think this would be another fad.
I mean, it definitely is a fad, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were aware of the Gentle Minions fad.
Is that where they dress up in their suits?
Yep.
And they go to the movies?
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen it. It threw me off the one. Come on, bro. I'm not old man, Mac. Jesus.
Well, you did say, what did you say earlier? The
Nirvana?
Yeah, the Nirvana. You said the Nirvana
That
earlier.
is such an old man, like...
I got to make sure.
Oh, my God. Are you going to go see The Stalker? Like,
yeah.
I said that a couple times. I was like, I got to catch myself before I just start rattling. Like, that's going to be like, all right, easy does it, 40-year-old. Go get some prune juice and take a nap.
Yeah. Go listen to some music on the YouTube.
The Netflix.
Yeah. I love watching the Netflix.
God, just throwing articles
This
out
dark
left
show
and right.
confuses me. Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I think is gonna pass as a fad for sure. But
how's it gonna affect the economy?
How's it gonna affect the
I
economy?
really
Probably
hope
not.
that like it turns into like a revolution, and then this is like the America, Revolutionary War.
It'll be like the January 6th riots, except they're all dressed up as minions.
Yeah, it'll be great.
And they're all shouting banana as they storm Capitol Hill.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then ringing the victory bell. Then in 100 years I'll be telling this tale of and not Paul Revere, but how the gentle minions
But of King Bob.
Yeah.
Who shouted banana from the presidential podium as he gave his first Secretary of State
Honestly,
address.
think about it. If these guys all like got together and took over the United States and in history books in 100 years had to read off the gentle minions, and they had to go over when they were on 6th and West Street, it's taking over like the Sears Tower, and they were gaining leverage over like, imagine like bananas that would be.
It'd be like that Coldplay song. It was all yellow.
Is that a reference to something? What do you reference?
They have a song called Yellow.
And you're saying the gentle minions?
In the song, he
well,
goes,
they're
"It was
not
all
yellow though.
Not the gentle minions,
Right.
but the minions themselves.
Oh my God,
what they represent.
They like do the deities. They become like our.
Yeah.
It's not the Statue of Liberty anymore.
They rewrite the Bible, except like every other noun is replaced with banana.
I would fucking if that like.
I'd be impressed by the dedication of somebody.
Until it's
But you could easily download a Bible document and then like search and replace certain words with just banana, and it'd be that easy. Just put it in a Word document.
just make it history.
Yeah, print it out.
I'm just thinking like a Handmaid's Tale, except gentle minions.
Yeah.
You know how pissed off people I would be, like just to.
I think there'd be a few upset people.
Oh, you think
that the gentle minions have shaped culture and ideology as we know it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're steering us.
Someone would make like the counterculture version film for that, like with Stalker.
Oh my God.
Yeah, as part of like the Minion Society.
The minions leading him into like a deeper sense of self.
A deeper understanding of your hopes and desires.
Oh my God, it's just animated. Kyle's new favorite animated
It's
film.
animated and it's slapstick like the Minions.
Oh yeah, except it's supposed to be deep. That's as deep as people can get now.
Yeah.
Well, don't need to go too much further than the subconscious. I'm good right here.
Yep.
Quick question though.
What's up?
What world would you rather live in? Handmaid's Tale or gentle minions taking over United States?
Handmaid's Tale, because
Really?
I'm a man.
Sexist.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I would have it pretty easy.
I mean, if we're answering,
Not that I don't already.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking gentle minions because I feel like I might be like a fighter on the outside that would try to get in to save the people and then get hurt. Whereas gentle minions, I don't think I'm in the way of the gentle minions. So I'm not pissing anyone off. It's kind of like I'm staying in my lane. I would just be pissed off. That's where we're at as America now.
Better to be pissed off than pissed on. Speaking of yellow.
Oh, hey, Coldplay.
Yep. So
is that what that song is about?
Yes.
Oh, we learn something new every day.
I'm glad I can bring this knowledge to you. So we can pretty much wrap up, but one more piece of business. McClain, you get to make a film pick recommendation.
I do.
am excited for what you decide for us to watch.
You know what? I think I gotta do it. I'm just it hit me, and we had Stalker, so I want to do something a little bit lighter.
Okay.
This movie's on HBO Max.
Excellent.
is an easy watch, and there is a lot of fodder. So, not that we have to race out of here.
Oh my God. Are you really doing it?
Speed 2 cruise control.
Oh, baby.
Yep. Me and I've watched this. I'm just going to tell you right now, just so everyone has a glimpse into the future, but this was a film that I religiously watched from 1999, 98.
Okay.
To probably it left HBO back when I was 9.
I just looked this up. I'm looking at the ratings.
And
it's funny,
dude. It is. Wait till you watch it.
I'm excited, dude. I haven't seen this.
No, we watched it, and there is so much to rip off the bone, dude. And it's like, it's got Defoe in it, so you're gonna probably enjoy that. You're gonna be compelled. I guarantee you're gonna be compelled and confused, and can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. I really can't. And then me and Sam watched this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't seen it, and it was like rewatching it for the first time again. And I was like, oh my God.
I'll probably watch the first one too, just to like familiarize myself.
Both of them?
Yeah, we can do both.
You want to do both?
Sure.
Let's do both.
Like our primary discussion will be Speed 2.
Yeah,
but we'll also talk about the first one.
We'll do the first one first, and then we'll end with the better film.
I haven't seen it, so I guess I can't fight you on that yet. But,
not yet.
All right. I'm really excited for this. I'm going into something that I just have no idea.
This is this is like up your alley too, with like, when you watch it. I'm not gonna say it's like Gemini Man. I think it's way better than Gemini Man. But
that's good. That's so glad.
Well,
fucking hated Gemini Man.
You just wait and watch it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if you don't want to be spoiled for Speed 2 Cruise Control and the first Speed, be sure to watch those films before episode 25.
I think they're both on HBO Max.
Excellent. So we will check those out. Thank you everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find us on the neoncrewpodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Various social medias, find us there, follow us, send us a message. Tell us your name, your credit card info, the
date of birth and social usually open up well on the dialogue.
Yeah. That way we know you're a true fan.
Yep.
We'll appreciate
100%.
it very much. And thank you guys. And McClain.
What a fun episode.
It was very fun. I really enjoyed this.
If you guys made it this far, I'm happy. All 3 of you, just give me the thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook.
Give us the thumbs up while you're sending us your credit card info.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't forget about that soch.
Yep. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel too. Looking to get more subscribers on there. So if you aren't already, if you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. I know.
Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers.
I know I sound like a douchebag YouTube vlogger right now, but it would really make us feel certain feelings,
certain type of way, as they say.
Mm-hmm, as the Zoomers would say.
Yeah.
On
mid.
On God, no cap.
What? Is that a TikTok thing?
Anyway, McClain. Is there any?
Yeah, if you don't subscribe, I'm going to sneeze quarters on you.
Exactly.
Cutting it.
You just want to cut it there?
No, I will say WWTHD.
All right. Bye, everyone. Oh,